Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, CSN Houston brings you Houston Astros baseball. Tonight, it's the opener of a brief two-game interleague series. The Astros are taking on the Washington Nationals from the National League. Good evening, everybody. Beautiful night here. The roof is open. Bill Brown, Alan Ashby, Julia Morales with you as the Astros start a brand new series. That last one was crazy. Oakland won the first two, and then Houston rebounded to win the next two, Ash.
Played very well in the final couple of games. Of course, they got some good starting pitching, and that goes a long ways. But it's also nice to see the offense have some moments where they're coming through.
And three players in particular have all been in these same spots in the order for the last 9 games. VR batting ninth, Altuve and Fowler 1 and 2.
Looks like it could be a fixture for a while anyway. Jose Altuve is a guy that when he gets it going, I mean, these are numbers he can put up at any given time. But in that span, he's been stealing some bags, hitting with some power, doing everything. And Dexter Fowler's another guy in there. But Jose Altuve lining balls back up the middle, driving balls to left field. That was a timely home run for Jose recently. And you can see how well it sets for the ball club. Dexter Fowler batting in that 2 spot has picked things up very much so. Driving the ball from both sides of the plate. Even has picked up some stolen bases now while batting second in the order. But it's been a nice combination, and Jonathan VR from both sides of the plate now is starting to get hot. Maybe being comfortable in that 9 spot while the other 2 guys are supplying stuff at the top. VR can steal some bags, maybe the best on the ball club in that regard. But he's got some great power from the right side of the plate. This guy could be very intriguing as time goes on, whether he stays at 9 or somewhere at the top of the order.
Matt Williams is in with the Washington Nationals, a group that pitches well, trying to deal with some difficult injuries to star players right now. But the Nationals really rely on that starting pitching, and their number 2 starter goes tonight, Gio Gonzalez.
And maybe the guy they most rely upon in that starting rotation, Gio Gonzalez, a left-hander who you can see with the records in recent years, very consistent on the good side. In 2012, 21-8 in 32 starts. This guy is really solid, and he's put up great numbers. He's 2-0 lifetime against Houston, although you can see he's also given up a little bit of offensive pounding here recently, but 2-0 lifetime against Houston. In interleague play, though, he's had his struggles in ERA very near the 7 mark in his last 7 interleague starts. So the Astros would love to be the ones that take advantage of that stat.
He beat them twice in 2 outings in 2012 when he was a 21-game winner. Coming up, first things first, Jared Cozart bounced back in his last outing, but can he fight through his first inning jitters? Julia's back with more next.
Comcast Sportsnet's presentation of Houston Astros baseball is presented by Jack in the Box. Head to Jack in the Box and try the new Jack's Blazin' Chicken Sandwich. It's Jack's hottest sandwich yet.
Minute Maid Park. Houston Astros baseball starts here in just a few minutes. The Washington Nationals are here, and Jared Cozart will be facing them tonight. Bo Porter had very high praise for his righty, talking to the media today after a start where Cozart just went 1 1/3 inning and his ERA was inflated. He responded well, so well that Bo Porter said it's that kind of maturation that changes you from a rookie pitcher to a veteran pitcher. He did do very well against Seattle. That's what I'm talking about. They were in Seattle. He put the Astros in position to win that day. He went 6 2/3 innings there, allowing just 2 runs on 4 hits, and the only 2 runs coming on a 2-run homer. That was to Kyle Seager, one of the hottest hitters in baseball right now. Other than that, Cozart felt really good about what he was able to do. Now, one thing he really needs to do today, put up a 0 in that first inning. The number's staggering when you look at that first frame. You see in his first start, he did very well against the Yankees team, coming out with a win there. And in his last start against Seattle, no runs, but Oakland, a tough 7 spot there. Team goes on to lose 3 spot against the LA Angels, so that will be his focus coming into today. Now, with the Nationals being here, you can say the Nationals don't know a lot about Jared Cozart. That's not exactly true. They did face him in spring training, and before you say spring training stats don't matter, Cozart made some kind of an impression on these Nationals. In his last spring training start against the Nats, he tossed 5 perfect innings, striking out 9. Coming up,
Ronnie Jason! Ronnie Jason! Ronnie Jason! Ronnie Jason! Ronnie Jason! Ronnie Jason!
the legend of Rally Jason is growing. This little lucky guy has brought back-to-back wins for the Houston Astros. Can he make it 3 straight? Don't go anywhere. First pitch is next.
To play at Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas. Game 1 of a 2-game series. Second series of a 3-series homestand. Here's the starting lineup for Matt Williams' Washington Nationals. Denard Span plays center field and leads off. It's Anthony Rendon from this area and Rice University at third base. Jason Worth is the number 3 spot. And the DH, it's Adam LaRoche, the cleanup man at first base. Ian Desmond at shortstop. Danny Espinoza at second. Nate McLouth in right field. Kevin Cranston in left field. Jose Lobaton at catcher.
23-year-old right-hander Jared Cozart goes to the hill 1-2 with a 6.12 ERA. That's primarily due to the disastrous 1/3 of an inning start at Oakland on the recent road trip, allowing 7 earned runs. But the follow-up start in Seattle, very good. 6 2/3, allowing just 4 hits and a couple of runs against him. Jared Cozart trying to stay now on that right track.
And beginning with Denard Span. who's ready to lead off this game. The Nationals are 14-12. They're 4 games behind front-running Atlanta in the National League East in 3rd place. Washington coming off an 11-game homestand. And it's a 5-game road trip. They'll have 3 in Philadelphia after the 2 here. Span ready to go. And Cozart's first pitch is in for a strike. Ted Barrett, the crew chief, is the home plate umpire. Span at .221 has no homers, 6 runs batted in, a .282 on base percentage. 2 for his last 14. Third baseman Dominguez in tight. And a late swing there makes it 0-2 if you call that a swing.
Yeah, I've seen gates close more quickly. 96 on the heat, and spotted it beautifully on the first couple of pitches, Jared Cozart.
Span was on the 7-day concussion disabled list earlier here in April. He looks at a ball, and it's 1-2.
Woo. Well, that's putting it right where you want.
Cozart's first action against Washington.
You want it to be on black at very best. And that's what I would say Cozart was able to accomplish.
He pitched 5 perfect innings in a game against the Nationals this spring, and Vieira. Little chop goes out to second, charged by Altuve. Quick throw to first in time. 1 down.
Defensively for the Astros tonight, behind Jared Cozart in the outfield left to right, AT HOU, Dexter Fowler, and George Springer. On the infield on the left side, Matt Dominguez and Jonathan Villar. On the right, it's Jose Altuve and Jesus Guzman. And behind the plate, Jason Castro.
Now it's Anthony Rendon, who went to Lamar High School here, growing up in Richmond, Texas, and then on to Rice University, a first-round pick of the Nationals in 2011. He was the 6th player drafted that year. 23 years old. And he hits the first pitch foul. There's strike 1 to Rendon, coming back home where he brings a .298 average to this ballpark with 3 homers, 17 runs batted in. He played some second base, but now with the injury to Ryan Zimmerman, surgery on his left hand, he is the 3rd sacker for Washington. And that's up for Cozart. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. He has his fans here for number 6. Rendon takes it. It's a strike, and it's a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Rendon is leading the Nationals in hits with 31 and runs batted in with 17. It's the high pitch in the air, and that goes into the crowd. It stays at a 1-ball, 2-strike count. As Julia mentioned, that was quite a rebound for Cozart from that rough start in Oakland. 1/3 of an inning, 7 earned runs, to last time out in Seattle, 6 2/3 innings, 2 runs, and a no decision. The Astros lost it 5-3 late. He got the no decision. It was a blown save. That's a strikeout looking, and it's out number 2.
This fastball appeared to get a good part of the plate, and Rendon was just flat frozen right down there around the knees. Jared Cozart steadily 95-96 to get things started.
And now with 2 outs, he moves along and faces Jason Worth next. Worth off to a nice start, DHing tonight, digging a nice deep hole in that batter's box, and he's way back in that box. At .281, he has 3 homers, 14 runs batted in. Pretty good slash line. .378 on base average for Jason Worth, who takes strike 1. He's the only player to rank in the top 5 in the National League in slugging, OPS, batting average, and on base percentage. And he's reached in 9 straight. The big curve comes in for a strike, and it's 0-2. That is a big weapon for Cozart. And one he had against the Yankees in his first start.
Worth looks like a guy having a discussion with himself as to how to handle those 2 pitches somewhere in between.
He gets the curve again, and he hits it high to left field. They're getting up in the Landry's Crawford boxes. It's 1-0 Nationals on Worth's 4th home run of the year. On the 0-2 pitch, he sent it sailing to left for his 15th run batted in.
Apparently a productive conversation Jason Worth had with himself. Wasn't the largest of swings, but he put it right on the barrel on a second straight hook.
The Nationals get their 27th long ball of the year and grab a 1-0 lead, sending Adam LaRoche into the batter's box. LaRoche, a .307 hitter, has 4 homers. The shift is on for him. Pitch is outside for ball 1. LaRoche has driven in 15 this year. He's one of 3 active players to hit 25 homers or more for 4 different teams: Atlanta, Pittsburgh, Arizona, and Washington. He's been a streaky hitter over the years. 1 ball, 1 strike to Adam LaRoche. They get the early souvenir.
Yeah, LaRoche, one of those guys who's been more on the production side, the long ball, as opposed to the guy that hits for a high average on a consistent basis.
He looks at that one. It's good for a strike, and it's 1-2. LaRoche now 34 years old. He came up in the Atlanta organization.
I played with his dad, Dave, when Adam was just a baby. Probably held him in my arms at some point.
You ever catch any of those lobs from his dad, Dave?
Absolutely did. Dave LaRoche had that pitch that he would kind of stop after the front foot would come to a landing and just flip it. Kind of a little towering, super slow softball type pitch. Drove hitters nuts.
That's great stuff. A little chop goes foul. So much fun to watch a guy change speeds like that. Try to throw the slowest pitch ever thrown in Major League Baseball.
Well, he may have had it.
He might have. It just ties hitters up in knots. That pitch that slow is way below bat speed. That's ball 2, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of personality Adam has, but his dad was one of those guys who was willing to mess with you in any way possible.
Well, that's what he was doing with LaLob. And Dave has been a pitching coach in the minor leagues the last few years. That's a foul ball on the ground outside the Astros dugout.
You know, back in spring training, you mentioned that game that Jared Cozart had with the Washington Nationals, and he was fantastic on that night. But they're starting to get on the curveball, and that was the pitch that seemed to befuddle them all the way through that evening.
It's a little chopper. VR glides over to his left, makes the toss to first. It's 1 run, 1 hit. The Worth home run makes it Washington 1. Houston coming up. Astros are coming up with this starting lineup for Bo Porter, brought to you by Jack in the Box. Jose Altuve is the leadoff man at second base on a 4-game hitting streak. It's Dexter Fowler in center field. Jason Castro, the catcher. The cleanup man is right fielder George Springer. Jesus Guzman plays first base. Chris Carter's the DH. LJ Hose is in left field. The third sacker is Matt Dominguez. Batting ninth is shortstop Jonathan Villar.
On the mound, left-hander Gio Gonzalez, 28 years of age. He's 3-1 as he's off to another fine start. A very consistently outstanding pitcher. ERA right at an even 3. He's faced the Astros twice on his career. He is 2-0 over 16 innings of 11-hit 3-run work in those games. That's an ERA of 1.69, so he has success against Houston, though he's been beaten up pretty soundly in his last 7 interleague starts.
Jose Altuve is getting in the box. He's had a good stretch of hitting in recent games. Altuve puts it in the air, and the right fielder goes over toward the corner, Nate McLouth, but won't get to it. There's a foul strike one. Altuve at 292 with 1 homer has 9 runs batted in. All she cares about is what she got.
Positioned very well down the right field side.
Yeah. Altuve has gone 9 for his last 18 to get to those numbers. This one in the air, and the left fielder's waiting. Kevin Franson. 1 out for Gonzalez.
Defensively for the Washington Nationals, Brownie just mentioned him in left field. Kevin Franson. In center, it's Denard Span and Nate McLouth in right. Around the infield on the left side, Anthony Rendon, local guy. Ian Desmond at shortstop. With 8 errors already. Danny Espinosa is at second, and Adam LaRoche at first. And behind the plate, Jose Lobaton.
Boy, is it a nice night out.
Ideal.
Dexter Fowler carries an 8-game hitting streak into this one. And that comes back foul for strike one. 238 for Fowler, 2 homers, 6 runs batted in, but lately much better numbers. He went 5 for 14 in the series against Oakland. And during his 8-game hitting streak, he's hit .321. He's out in front there, and it snowballs 2 strikes. Fowler is 3 for 6 with a homer against Gio Gonzalez.
Brownie, this late in the spring, it's usually pretty warm in the fair city of Houston, but it stayed quite nice this year.
Yeah, it's been a different kind of year, hasn't it? The winter was certainly different than the normal pattern. Yesterday was hot. It was, what, 92 degrees or so yesterday for a high?
Somewhere in that 90 range. You and I on the golf course, and I'm sure we enjoyed things to the same sweaty tune.
You see Fowler's .300 batting average at home. Of course, he had a much higher home batting average last year at Coors Field than he did on the road. But the next couple of nights are going to be cooler than this. Should be very enjoyable. Tomorrow night, the finale of this series. Thursday night is an off night for the Astros again this week. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Scott Feldman threw a bullpen before tonight's game, and he's feeling good again. So he could be entering this Astros starting rotation in a few days. That's a strikeout for Gonzalez for out number 2.
Some of the hitters on both sides right now looking like they're not picking up the fastball real well at this time of the night. You've got the shade entirely covering the field of play.
Jason Castro on a 5-game hitting streak. Steps out. He's hitting .221, 4 homers, 13 runs batted in to lead the club. We want to pass along our best wishes for the family of Walt Matthews, 79-year-old Astros longtime scout, minor league manager, and minor league player. He just passed away with more than 50 years of continuous service, the most in franchise history. Strike one to Castro. There was a moment of silence for Walt Matthews before this game tonight. He goes back to the beginning. 1 ball, 1 strike. He was one of the top scouts in the game, had a keen eye for evaluating talent, and just a great friend to those like Joe Morgan in the minor leagues. It's 2 balls and a strike. Bo Porter, the former coach for the Washington Nationals, and Pat Listash, his third base coach, also coached for this Washington organization. Trying to turn the tables on the Nats tonight. That's ball 3, and it's a 3-ball, 1-strike count to Castro. Matt Williams getting his first managerial shot. Quite a player. All those years with the Astros.
Got a nice makeup for a skip.
Yeah, their rival, the Giants. Good third baseman, Gold Glove winner. 2-out walk to Castro. Yeah, he does have a good makeup. All those years as a player. Now it's George Springer batting. Springer with a 170 average has driven in a couple. George said his grandparents are still here enjoying Houston hospitality.
Does that mean he's buying them dinners?
I don't know. He's staying with Dexter Fowler. There's strike 1.
Somebody is teaching the art of wearing the blue socks showing all the way up to the knees here.
It's a good look.
You know what? If he gets hot with the bat, starts playing the way we all believe he can, that might become the next look.
In the dirt. Lobaton comes up with it. It's 1-1. Springer thrust into this cleanup spot after just a few games as a major leaguer. Went 2 for 14 in the Oakland series. He had hits in each of his first 5 major league games. He'd love to get Castro home with a hit right here. And the throw goes over. The Astros have won 9 and lost 17. They had quite a comeback series against Oakland after being pummeled in the first 2 games. And the game Sunday was one of the best of the year for the Astros. They won that one 5-1. Springer takes a look at it, and it's ball 2. Porter's club with a different kind of week here in late April, early May, with another day off coming on Thursday. And then they'll be grinding it for a while. There aren't many days off in May. Inside for a ball. It's 3-1. .4 Springer's walk percentage in his early days as a big leaguer. And he fouls it back with a mighty cut. 3-2.
Hey, just got that much desired 3-1 fastball. You've got to be guessing that pitch on the 3-1, and as you air it out, when you foul it off, that's as good as just flat missing it, and that's in a great location for George Springer. Watch that back foot kind of collapse back.
(3-2). Castro goes, and it's strike 3 to end the first for Gio Gonzalez with no runs, no hits, and a man stranded. 1-0 Nationals.
Comcast Business takes you inside the game. We look at Jared Kozart versus left-handed hitters, more specifically his fastball against left-handed hitters, including the cut fastball here. And it's 5 starts this year versus 2013 hitters having more success. Now, you'd have to expect that slugging percentage will come down, 565 there. But the cutter that was so deadly against left-handed hitters last year, he's not using it like that this year. He said because of his arm health and the walk issues that he's changed his delivery, and so that led to less cut. Now, against lefties now, he's been working on his changeup. Castro told me that we should see more of that today. And in the first inning, he got the first 2 lefties to ground out. We'll see what he does from here on out, guys.
Thank you, Julia. Ian Desmond steps up for inning number 2.
Yeah, let's take those ugly numbers on back to that start at Oakland. A third of an inning, 7 earnings. That was not good on the overall numbers.
Ball 1 to Desmond. 243, 4 homers, 16 runs batted in. 28-year-old shortstop who drove in 80 last year. That's in the air, and coming over for it, first baseman Jesus Guzman into foul ground. Reaches over to snag it, 1 out. Now he's looking back. He had stopped and then he reached on out as if maybe he didn't have a sense of where he was on that play, Ash.
Which is why you want to get to the area as quickly as possible. Sprint there. Feel around if you need to. Get yourself comfy. There was plenty of room still to move to his left.
That 1 out, and it's Danny Espinosa. Switch hitting second, Sacker. Espinosa takes it. That is ball 1.
Well, when Jared's missing tonight with that fastball, he's missing in very good locations, just off the edge.
Ground ball, and Guzman fires to Kozart. 2 out. Had to back up, so then he had to put something on the throw.
It's kind of the same scenario there for Jared Kozart. Sprint to the bag, and just shy of the bag is where he takes that throw. You get there early and you can handle any type of throw. Get there late on the sprint move and you're looking for the bag and looking for the baseball can be very tough.
Nate McLouth is the batter. McLouth playing right field tonight. 118, 1 homer, 1 run batted in for McLouth. There is strike 1. McLouth is 32 years old. Played last year for Baltimore. He was drafted by Pittsburgh. Played with Atlanta. That's in for a strike. 0-2 to Nate McLouth. And of course there is a vacancy in left field. Kevin Franson playing that position now. He's in the on-deck circle with the injury to Bryce Harper. Curveball takes the count to 1-2. And McLouth might play some left as well. He can play any of the 3 outfield positions, but Harper is going to be out with surgery on his left thumb until perhaps July, we're hearing.
And that surgery took place today. You can see with a photo that he is looking good.
That's a 1-2-3 second. Kozart looking good also. 1-0 Nationals.
Astros 0, and it is time for you to tweet your photo using hashtag CSNHFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game telecast. It's the Comcast Sportsnet Fan Photo brought to you by AT&T. Brownie.
Thanks, Julia. Those fans enjoying the night. And the Astros come up now in the bottom of the second inning with Gio Gonzalez and the Nationals in the lead 1-0. Jesus Guzman, the batter. Gonzalez delivers, and there's strike one to a 188 hitting Guzman with 2 homers, 3 runs batted in. Gonzalez had a little tightness in his left shoulder in his last start. And all the reports indicated it was nothing serious at all. He had pitched 5 innings. He came out for the 6th. He left after allowing 4 hits and 2 runs in 5. He said it got colder at that point of the game, so they, as a precaution, got him out. Fly ball to center field, chases Span back. 1 out.
You know, if I listen to a player say that some part of his body got cold during the course of the game or colder, I'd probably be concerned about blood flow. That's an odd term to use when you're talking about a shoulder stiffening up.
Now Chris Carter. Carter, the DH, with 3 homers, 8 runs batted in, a 169 average. Went 3 for 13 with a homer against his former Oakland mates in the previous series. He's been walking a lot, 10 walks in his last 14 games, taking strike one there. Just a 2-game series between the two here, and then they'll play 2 in Washington later. Breaking pitch, and the same situation will find the Astros in Arizona meeting each other in a pair of 2-game series. And they will be followed, one followed by the other in July. Astros will be in Washington June 17th and 18th. 1 ball, 2 strikes. So just a quick stop on the schedule. But a chance for Houston fans to take a look at one of the good teams in the National League. We're not sure exactly how good right now because of all the injuries. And they've been picked by some to win this NL East, but Atlanta off to a very nice 17-7 start. And Washington trying to deal with the injury bug, hitting third baseman Ryan Zimmerman, and now the left fielder Bryce Harper. The starting catcher is out. That's a strikeout for strikeout number 3. Let's take a look at the injuries. Wilson Ramos went out, then Scott Hairston, Doug Fister, Ross Ollendorf, all on that injury report tonight.
You take Ramos right back to opening day, and Ryan Zimmerman, it's been a while. That's a club that's been beat up.
These are star players. The top 2 anyway. AT HOU's the batter. And that's ball 1 to HOU's, a 146 hitter with 1 homer, 1 RBI.
And you talk about the Astros going into D.C. in June. There will be no Bryce Harper at that point.
1-1. Zimmerman should be back by then, barring some kind of a problem or further injury for Ryan. He's one of the top players in the game. He's had throwing problems, though. And he hurt his thumb diving back into second on a pickoff play. Harper hurt his left thumb diving into third on a triple. So the head first slides have been an issue. Rose looks, and it's a 3-ball, 1 strike count.
How did Pete Rose ever make it for all those years and all those hits?
He knew how to do it.
See, he'd spent a lot of his time in the air.
He did. He launched his body. He'd land on that barrel chest of his.
That's what it was.
Yeah, that would absorb a lot of the blow.
Barrel up the chest if you're going to be one of those divers.
Not that that's the only way to do it. But many managers, Bo Porter included, would rather his players not go in head first. Foul away. What's your thought on that, Ash?
You know, I was listening to Harold Reynolds on ESPN talk. He liked to dive as well. He referred to it as the head first slide. But he says if you do it right, there's really a minimal risk of any kind of injury. And No, the Harold's a bright guy. I don't know. I tend to lean toward a guy who did it like that.
Well, that's strikeout number 4 for Gonzalez. 1-0 Washington.
And just before the break, Ash and Brownie were talking about Bryce Harper. The Nationals playing without this guy who had surgery today on a torn ligament in that left thumb because of this play right here, sliding head first into third base. This was last Friday, and a guy that plays a little bit like Bryce Harper, George Springer. He has had aggressiveness. He has slid head first at least a couple of times, and including this past weekend against the Oakland A's. And Bo Porter was talking, just like Brownie was saying, Bo Porter talking about how he does not want George Springer to slide head first, but there's really nothing he can do about it. And Springer said, it's definitely something I'll be conscious of. And when I heard of Harper, I thought to myself, ooh, I need to watch what I'm doing. Brownie.
Branson hit by the pitch on a curveball. That's how the third inning gets underway.
You know, one of the biggest things I would be concerned about is having my player think about it. You start doing something that's unnatural or thinking when you're trying to do the natural thing, and to me that's when you're most likely to get hurt. I'd rather have him just go ahead and use his instincts, or maybe during a spring training decide here's where we're going to work on the other way and see if we can perfect it.
Jose Lobaton, who was acquired in a deal with Tampa Bay February 13th, is the batter. And there's ball 1 to Lobaton. 267, 1 homer, and 4 runs batted in. Lobaton had a good homestand, going 10 for 30, a couple of doubles, a homer, and 3 runs batted in. Prior to this road trip, he was the starting catcher in 3 of the 4 playoff games last fall for the Rays. And somebody who's really being relied upon now with that injury to Wilson Ramos. From the opening day starting 8 players other than the starting pitcher, they've had a total of 7 innings together. Two balls, no strikes. There won't be much commiseration on things like that. A lot of baseball teams go through it. The idea being to just try to keep their heads above water. That's what managers say all the time, Ash, in situations like this, until they can get their key players back.
If your bad times for a club during the course of the year mean you're playing a couple of games over 500, you're likely to have a really good year.
Yeah. Line shot, right field corner. That'll scoop. Going to third is Franson, and he's going to be sent to the plate. Here's Altuve, and will not make a throw. It's 2-0 on the RBI double by Lobaton. George Springer was way over in right center field. He had a long way to go for that Lobaton double, his 6th of the year. That's
one of the things that goes on when you're playing a bit out of a position that more fully covers the field. You see the distance Springer has to go. And at that point, that simply provides the time needed to be able to pick up the run for Washington. You see the body kind of falls back a little bit for George. He's running so hard to one side trying to stop and pick up the baseball. Just not an easy task.
Overton with the double makes it 2-0, and it's Denard Span with the corner infielders pinching in. Span shoots one to second. Altuve will throw to third. High throw, the tag by Dominguez in time. Well, that was great decision making. Altuve had already made up his mind. If the ball was hit sharply to him, he was taking that out at third if the runner advanced.
That is such great play. And so many guys are scared to do this. I don't care if they have half a baseline presented to them. They won't take the shot. Altuve, without hesitation, takes that shot and gets a big out on the front side. A nice tag as Matt Dominguez gets the glove down.
That play from 4 to 5 for out number 1. Span is aboard. He's 2 for 2 in steals. Rendon the batter. Yeah, if that ball had been, we'll say, a 3-hopper, and I don't think there's any second baseman who would try to get the out at third, but that was a sharp 1-hop grounder right at him.
And again, I'll say almost all second basemen may think about it, but they won't ultimately try for that play.
Well, that's true. And that's usually why the base runner moves over. That could be an awfully big out. No balls, 2 strikes. First out of the inning at third base.
Yeah, that basic rule says if the ground ball is behind you as a runner at second base, go ahead and take third. Now, there are some minor reads, but on the ground ball all the way to the right side of the infield, every runner is going to go, with the exception of an occasional pitcher.
That's poked into right field by Rendon. He singles on the 0-2 count, and it's first and second now as Rendon comes up with a hit.
Jason Worth with a recent series against San Diego, hooking one over the bag at third base. Big, strong guy. He's a run producer, and he produces the first run of tonight's ball game. That curveball. Jared Cozart tried to come with a second straight hammer, and it did not pay off.
And now it's Worth with runners at first and second and 1 out.
There's that cutter. I haven't seen a lot of that pitch this year. He says it doesn't seem to be kind of happening because of changes in the delivery this year, but it happened right there.
Worth fouls that one away, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
What do? You flip a curveball on a guy in the first inning and he hits a home run off of you. Do you shy away from that pitch the rest of the night? You got to find a way to utilize it effectively. Doesn't mean every time you throw the curveball it's going to be launched for a dinger.
It's a good point. A pitcher might be able to use that as a weapon.
But I guess for a while you want to see what the fastball looks like on the hitter.
You might be able to move that curveball around and get him to chase it out of the zone because he hit it so well earlier. He certainly hit well in these situations. That's popped up behind the plate. Castro comes back. I don't have a play on it. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Altuve's playing up the middle. Interesting article today in the Houston Chronicle about the Astros defensive positioning and how they are trying to cover the middle portion of the field now with their defensive positioning this year. Pat Listash is in charge of where the infielders are stationed. He's on the right. Tarek Brock on the left positions the outfielders.
Bottom line with all the shifting, Astros or otherwise, is trying to take the percentages away from the opposition. Some of that percentage, however, in the corners is extra base hit. So it's a gamble.
Tried to check, and he did check on appeal to Paul Schreiber. It's ball 3 to Worth.
Well spotted fastball, maybe a little bit of a cutter off the plate. Bat gets out there pretty good, but it looks like Worth probably holds on at the last instant.
Three-two pitches rock deep to center field, way back. Fowler gets underneath it now, just short of the warning track. He has it. There's the tag at second by Span. Span taking third. The throw going into Altuve on a long out, number 2.
Now the lead runner moves up, that's Span, but Anthony Rendon probably should have read this right away as one that is going to be caught by a major league center fielder. And could he tag? I would say with his speed, rather handle it. Ball's juiced pretty good. Make you think of Richie Sexson at all?
Oh yeah.
Back in the day?
Long arms.
Sexson was the one that hit the flagpole that's actually in play.
That was quite a moment.
I don't think he believed what happened. Hit a ball that probably would have gone 460 feet if a foot, and it was in play.
Adam LaRoche grounded out earlier. Jonathan Villar is over on the first base side of second. LaRoche takes, and there's ball 1. I'll never forget Sexton standing on third, just looking out there at that flagpole, just staring up there as if to say, that is not possible. I hit a ball that would have been out of this park by at least 30 feet, and all I got was a triple.
Tal, is that your flagpole? You left it on the wrong side of the fence. I actually like it. I think it's kind of cool.
It's a conversation point. 1 ball, 1 strike. And it was about, what, 2/3 of the way up on that flagpole there, right?
It was a good bolt, and it was not a fly ball. It was a line drive. Yeah, I would say 436 to the wall. That ball would probably have carried another, realistically, I'll call it 30 feet anyway.
Yeah.
That was a bolt.
Inside for a ball that makes it 2-1. For a long time, for a few years there was a mark that told us exactly how high up it hit because it took the paint off that foul pole. Then they finally painted over that mark.
I think they should have left it. That was a mark that those of us who were around at that time really enjoyed being able to take that occasional peek at.
We did. Altuve's out in right field, but Springer's well over in right center. Swing and a miss there makes it 2-2. In fact, if there's a ball hit about halfway up the right field line between first base and the wall, Altuve's going to have to go get it.
It's a good over-the-top curveball. Not seeing the changeup from Jared. Not yet, anyway.
Don't you think with Jared's fastball, he can get that pitch up above LaRoche's hands? LaRoche is a definite low ball hitter.
I think the high fastball in or just out of the strike zone could be very effective.
Cracks this one. That's a foul ball. He hit that hard. That's in his wheelhouse there.
And that was another one of those cutters. And I don't know if Jared has intentionally employed that here this evening or if it's just starting to happen, but comes right in toward that inside edge and just barely foul. LaRoche took a shot.
After seeing how quick his bat was on that, you think maybe curveball away on this next one.
But you have found out that he can handle that hard cutter on the inside edge. Do you want to stay there? I would contend that if you want to come in, bring it up a bit.
Yep. That's strike 3. And in the third inning, Washington adds a run on 2 hits with 2 men stranded. It's 2-0 Nats.
Tell you about In-Game Live, which is on CSNHouston.com. Basically, it's a way to enhance the viewing experience. Tons of Bloomberg stats, and you can vote for your player of the game. The winner, the most popular choice, is revealed on TV during Astros postgame live. And speaking about stuff on TV, our Twitter question kind of thought about the Nationals and how they're a good model for success, building from within, some top prospects doing well. Well, the Twitter question tonight is, what is your top model as the Astros try to continue to build for their success in the future? Is it the Cardinals? Is it the Nationals, the A's, the Pirates? Explain as you tweet me at HoChenCSN. I'm reading the best tweets on TV. Brownie?
Thanks, Howard. That was ball 1 to Matt Dominguez. 2-0 Washington. Gio Gonzalez evens the count at 1-1 with that pitch to a .221 hitter with 4 homers, 10 runs batted in. Matt went 2 for 14 in the Oakland series, make it 3 for 14 with an RBI. Dodgers and Twins postponed today in Minnesota. They'll play a day-night twin bill on May 1st. It's the only series they have against each other there this year. So they have to double up. 2 balls and a strike. We've had other postponements as well today. The Pirates and Orioles in Baltimore postponed. They will have a doubleheader on Thursday, May 1st. Or the game will be made up. That could be an off day. Foul ball back, and it's 2-2.
Stay away from the double dips. That's my motto.
The Reds have something like 4 rainouts already this year. Wow. So they're not going to be able to stay away from the double dips.
That is going to be a challenge.
And they are in a rain delay tonight with the Cubs in Cincinnati. 2-1 Cubs. They're in the 4th inning. In tight to Domingo. That makes it a full count with VR and Altuve to follow. The return of Robinson Cano to New York. Mariners 4, Yankees 2, top of the 6th inning. Mark Teixeira, home run number 3 of the year.
See what Jimmy Fallon did with Robinson Cano there in New York?
No. Fly ball left. Franson back. Franson now comes back away from the wall. It kicks off the wall. Back toward the infield. Domingo into second base with a double. His 4th 2-base hit.
Well, Matty D comes ever so close here. Couldn't see how high off the wall this ball hits. But that trajectory certainly gives you a shot.
That's
he's looking.
Hit. Yeah.
Hey, he's going to take that peak that direction. Anyway, quickly on Robinson Cano. Oh, a little cutoff swing right there.
Yeah.
Jimmy Fallon had the average person on the streets of New York tell a reporter about how they were going to boo Robinson Cano in his return. And he had a big photo in a box there of Robinson Cano. And so the fans would boo, boo, here's what I've got for you. And Robinson would walk out of the box.
I did
and
see that.
Every one of them would shake his hand and, be embarrassed about it. But it was kind of cute.
.234 for VR, 3 homers. He's driven in 8. He's on a 5-game hitting streak. He pushes a bunt. Gonzalez tossing to first to get him. Dominguez to third, out number 1. Sacrifice from 1 to 3 for VR, and Altuve will follow. I think in all actuality it would be fair to say he was bunting for a hit, but he's credited with a sacrifice.
Yeah, that's become the nature of the game. I'm not so sure I like that play right here. I'm often good with trying to peck away and get a run at a time, but VR's been swinging a pretty good bat, and I wouldn't have minded seeing him take at least one shot.
Would you have liked first and third, nobody out?
Would have worked for me.
Altuve hit a fly ball to left. A lot of times a hitter thinks if he can just push that ball by the pitcher, he'll get a bunt hit. Dominguez at third, 1 out. Rendon even with a bag at third. And it's 2-0. Gio Gonzalez has won 66 games the last 5 years. Only 2 pitchers have won more in that period of time. Justin Verlander and CC Sabathia. For his career, he's won 73 and lost 49 with an ERA of 3.57. Now ball wide of third. Good pickup by Pat Listash. Former AL Rookie of the Year.
Still got the hands.
Yeah. Ooh, could have gotten the glove.
Hands are so good you can't even capture them in a screen.
Gio Gonzalez pitched 2 outstanding games and won both against the Astros in 2012. He shut them out for 7 innings and won a 1-0 game in Washington. That was his first win as a National after being with Oakland at the beginning of his major league career. And he went on to a 21-8 record in 2012 with a 2.89 ERA. And then later on that season, he had a complete game 3-2 win here at Minute Maid Park. That's foul back, and it's 2-2. Altuve's discipline has been markedly better than last year and the year before. He has 9 walks and 9 strikeouts. There you see the MLB leaders. Verlander with 75, Sabathia 72, Gonzalez and Scherzer with 66 the last 5 years.
Pretty solid group right there.
It's 3-2 to Altuve. Altuve has had 36 plate appearances in a row now without striking out. That's the second longest streak in the American League this year. And there's a little fly ball out to left field. And the left fielder is there, Franson, for the catch and gets his throw in toward the plate. Out number 2. It's too shallow, of course, for Domingo to be able to go on that.
Where's Billy Hamilton when you need him?
Sliding Billy Hamilton.
Yeah, this is one of those occasions where Gio Gonzalez simply wins out with a tough pitch. And off the end of the bat. Little flip there by Altuve, not enough.
Now Dexter Fowler, he struck out in the first inning. There was a scientific sort of baseball article on Billy Hamilton the other day, Ash.
Yeah, what did science have to say about that kind of speed?
Science was pretty good. Foul away.
Did they measure the speed in warp?
They measured his speed between first and second. What do you think his top speed was in miles per hour between first and second base?
What is it that I've got this figure of about, might be marathoners who run about 17 miles an hour, or is it sprinters? I'm going to say 20 miles an hour.
You're close, 22.
It's really deceiving, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. Shot up the middle and on by a diving Espinosa for an RBI single to center field by Fowler. 2-1 ball game now as Fowler with a big pick-me-up 2-out hit gets his 7th run batted in. That's a 9-game hitting streak for Fowler.
Yeah, had the Astros not picked up this run, it would be one that you would look back upon and say, boy, you've got to get that run. But the 2-out hit takes care of a lot of problems for clubs. This has not been something the Astros have been doing well.
As a team, they were hitting 119 with 2 outs and men in scoring position when this game started.
I guess that qualifies as not doing well, that figure, huh?
That qualifies.
Ooh, boy, that's a rough figure.
Now it's Castro coming up. Joe goes over to first. Fowler's longest hitting streak of his career was 11 games early in the season last year, from April 27th, April 23rd through May 3rd. So Gonzalez now with a 1-run lead. Looks in, and Castro, who walked in the first inning, tries to do some more damage. Julia would know more about this, but we were told that Rally Jason, the players' official version of the Jason Castro bobblehead, does not come out to the dugout until the 7th inning.
Wow. Usually only the closer earns that right.
2 balls, no strikes.
Imagine it being with the Yankees for all the last 20 years or whatever it's been, and he and Mariano Rivera would come out together.
Let's see, we've learned something already. He's out there early.
Nobody would know which one was actually getting applauded.
Maybe it's that they don't touch it until the 7th inning.
Maybe that's what it is. He gets to hang out in the dugout and be friends with the guys, but just don't touch me.
Did you guys ever have a mascot on the bench?
I don't ever recall anything like that. I don't think we had bobbleheads in those days.
Well, remember there was a pitcher back in the, was it Bill Hands of Chicago? There was a pitcher who used to keep a teddy bear on the bench when he pitched. Can't remember who it was, but yeah.
I would hate to admit it if that was me.
Well, sure. But that was a big story at the time. And there have been different mascots of players who have been brought out to the bench during games.
Sure.
That's out to left field, backing up Franson. Franson at the corner of the wall. Now he backs off the wall. It kicks right to him. Unbelievable play, and he gets the throw in to prevent a run from scoring. That is a phenomenal reaction, playing that carom shot right into his glove. Otherwise, Fowler scores, and it's tied 2-2.
I don't care if you played here 300 times a year. There's no way you could get that read that perfectly. Wow, he caught it behind his back. Let's see if you can watch this as it comes off the wall. Watch what Franson does. He turns and heads back to the infield and catches the ball. Just stuck out his glove behind his back and caught it. Nobody was more surprised than Kevin Franson.
No.
How about that?
That is a ridiculous play.
Tell me you don't see that all over a famed baseball show later on this evening.
Boy. Now George Springer gets the slow curve, strike one. A double for Castro in a 6-game hitting streak, but no RBI because of the play by Franson in left field.
That's one where if you don't come up with it as Franson did, the skip says, what were you trying to do?
Yeah.
Don't try that again.
No balls, 2 strikes now on Springer.
There's that swing from George Springer that's a big rip, but the right foot is just bearing all the weight of the body as he falls back.
Struck out looking on a 3-2 pitch earlier. And takes that one. 1-2.
Watch him take batting practice, and he gets off of that back foot. He drives through the baseball, but a little more velocity with game time, and it changes things a bit.
Guzman's on deck. That one almost got by the catcher, but he saved a run. Lobaton with the play. And it's 2-2. This run has been saved twice by national fielding plays.
I don't know how George Springer avoided being nipped by this after the bounce.
Yeah. And Lobaton came up on it. The ball bounced up into his mitt. So some things are breaking the Nationals' way here in this inning.
That was a great shot of Fowler going back into the bag, moving into fair territory and trying to block a would-be throw.
That one pops out, and it's 3-2 now to Springer, and he's seeing the breaking stuff and laying off.
He got a fastball with a 3-2 count in the first inning and took it right at the knees.
Big pitch coming for George. Beautiful sky out there in the distance tonight.
You were making eagles in this kind of sky yesterday, weren't you?
Not so much. 3-2 pitch, rock to left field. That'll get the run home. And another one. Castro coming to the plate. It's an overthrow. He'll score, and it's a 2-run double by Springer. The Astros have the lead 3-2. And he got his pitch, and he rifled it to left. That's his third double, and it gives him 4 major league runs batted in.
You know what? You nailed it right there. When a major league hitter gets the fastball he's looking for, that's what you do to it. You put the barrel on it and you take your chances. And George, though, hanging on that backside of quite a bit, still got the barrel to it. That's what you want to see. You cannot foul off that pitch.
He hustles. It's ruled a single, so a correction on that. Ruled a 2-run single by Springer, and he takes second on the throw into the infield. But nonetheless, the 2 runs batted in, the important part of that hit for George Springer.
Look what the 2-out hit by Dexter Fowler has led to.
Very good point. Yeah, at the time, it was a pick-me-up just to get that 1 run home from third.
Exactly.
Now 2 more hits have piled on to Fowler's single. And it's Guzman batting. Guzman hit a fly ball to center. Chases that one for strike 1.
Oh, he stayed on that backside, but boy, that's a big swing, not only for the club, but for himself personally. He needs this. And it's, from my perspective, a glimpse into what I believe George Springer can do in a big way.
Back to Gonzalez to end the third. So the Astros hitting 119 with 2 outs and men in scoring position. Come up with 3 consecutive hits and lead it 3-2.
Out in front of the Nationals 3-2 as we go to the 4th inning here. And just a reminder that every Thursday is Dollar Dog Thursday when the Astros play at home. Next chance to plow through a pile of Dollar Dogs is May 29th when the Astros take on the Orioles. For tickets, call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit Astros.com. Brownie.
Thanks, Julia. 3-2 game now, going to the fourth inning. Ian Desmond is the batter. Curveball is high. He shortens up on it, takes ball one. Thanks to Tal Smith for the email. The Cubs pitcher with the teddy bear on the bench was Bill Fall. You remember that, Ash?
Yeah, I was just about to tell you before Tal stepped in. I'm glad to have Tal on board.
He says on occasion he would leave the mound, go to the plate to position his catcher properly. A real eccentric.
Bill Fall.
Little chop, and that's wide at third base for 1 ball, 2 strikes.
That's funny on a night where I mentioned Tal with the flagpole out there and the Richie Sexson story.
That's right.
There it is. Only one time in the existence of this park has that pole come into play, to my knowledge.
Crazy, isn't it?
Richie Sexson says, "Why me?"
Struck him out looking. Desmond caught staring at a fastball for strikeout number 4. We need more nights like this, don't we?
This is perfect.
Oh.
Yeah, if you could do this all summer long, you'd call this San Diego.
Danny Espinosa's the batter. He grounded out earlier. But then we'd have the marine layer to worry about.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Ball would not carry to the Crawford boxes.
1-0 to Danny Espinosa. Kind of reclaimed his job this year. The plan was for Rendon to play second and Zimmerman to play third. Broken bat, and that goes into right center field. Espinosa reaching with hit number 4 for the Nats. Takes the big turn.
Here's a look at our pitch by pitch brought to you by Steel Dealers, and we're looking at Nate McLeod as he ended the second inning, striking out against Jared Cozart. Well, that fastball is alive at 95. Curveball right over the top at 79, and then a perfectly placed heater down and away. Jared Cozart has been tough, picking up 4 punch-outs already.
And McLeod around for the second time now. He looks at strike 1.
Good yacker over the top. And Jared has a gem.
Yeah, he had it against the Yankees in that first start of the year here, a 3-1 win. Then against the Angels next time out, he did not have the curveball working. Gave up 5 runs in 6 innings. Took a loss. It's a big pitch for him. That one's at 95 in a great spot to make it an 0-2 count.
Look, he's given up a couple of runs tonight, has Cozart, but this version of Jared Cozart I would take every time, every 5 days when you can run him out there. He's good.
Trying for win number 2 of the year. He's had a couple of quality starts with no decisions, one in Texas, one in Seattle. Had a shutout until the 7th last time out at Seattle. Gave up a Seager 2-run homer. That's slowly hit. Charged by Guzman. That takes care of out number 2. Espinosa into second base. And it'll be Kevin Franson. Franson was hit by a pitch and scored on the Lobaton double in the 3rd.
That is quite an evening.
Franson was drafted by the Giants. They dealt him to Boston. Waiver claim took him on to the Angels. Then as a free agent he signed with San Diego and with the Phillies last year. Had 252 at bats with the Phils. And a good year pinch hitting last year for them. He's from Los Gatos, California, San Jose State. Here's an oddity about Kevin Franson. He was hit by pitches in his first 4 major league starts.
Is he the record holder?
I don't know. Strike one.
Grandkids, come gather around me. I have a tale for you.
Sit on Grandpa's knobby knee from one of those hit by pitches and we'll talk.
The thigh is still bruised.
1 ball and 1 strike to Kevin Frandsen. Frandsen, one of those guys who can play different positions, moves around from team to team, and that is not at all uncommon these days.
And he can take balls high off the wall in left field without looking at them behind his back.
Now, have you seen a play like that in
Never.
this ballpark?
Never.
That's a first in this park. That was just an incredible bit of good fortune on his part.
I'd love to hear Matt Williams, the skipper of the Nationals, when Frandsen came back to the dugout and the skip says, "What were you doing? Nice play, great play, but what in the world were you thinking? You really thought you could do that?"
And he would say, "Skip, I wanted to be facing the infield so I could see the base runners."
Okay, we'll have you teaching the organization that play next spring.
Ground ball, and there's a good play by Guzman. Tossing, and Cozart is there for out number 3. No runs a hit, a man stranded, and the Astros lead it by 1, 3-2.
Three to 2. Astros, Dynamo, Rockets, and more. We have all your sports news covered. Check out Sportsnet Central every night at 6:10 and midnight on Comcast Sportsnet. We'll see Chris Carter coming up here first for the Astros, who had a slow start to the season, but if you look at his last 6 games, he's batting .300 and hit 3 home runs over those 6 games. Starting to warm up. I asked him what the difference was. He said early on he just started to feel overwhelmed at the plate, was using too much information, and it didn't feel right. He said, "I'm a simple guy. I needed to simplify it at the plate." He went from swinging at everything, guys, to basically a simple approach of waiting on his pitch. We saw him get one of his pitches, a high fastball that he crushed for a big home run against Oakland last Saturday.
Sure did. Thanks, Julia. He fouls that one for strike 1. Carter struck out in the 2nd inning.
Well, you don't want to get to thinking about too much. I always equate it to golf. You get more than one thought in your mind, and you might as well just put the clubs up and come back another day.
Good fastball there, makes it 1-2. Gio had 93 on that heater.
Hey, you were walking around with a former U.S. Open champion this evening, and
Scott Simpson.
Kind of strutting your stuff, weren't you?
No, just meeting him for the first time. How about you?
Same story, but you were the one introducing. So
well, he's in town for the Insperity Classic coming up later on this week on the senior tour.
It's very cool. Nice guy.
Very nice guy. similarities between golf and baseball.
Well, you certainly cannot juggle multiple thoughts into a golf swing or a baseball swing, while especially in baseball with a pitch coming at you, varying speeds, varying directions. Yeah, it's too much.
That brings up a good point. A little bit high, apparently 3-2. Well, to a certain extent, a hitter can, if he has those multiple thoughts, he can step out of the box. A golfer can step away from the ball, but at some point, that hitter's got to get his mind cleared because the pitcher's going to have something for him. That's rock high to left field. Let's see if he can keep it fair. This is a soaring foul ball. It just kept turning left. It's so high above the end of the foul pole. Porter looking in to see if maybe that might be reviewable perhaps, but I think they'd have such a difficult time following the flight of that ball.
I felt like I could watch this one. The one up in Seattle that Zunino hit up and over the foul pole, you flat lost, even in the replays. Now, I don't know that we can see the ball here in that shot, but rather similar. This one eventually going a considerable distance foul, it appeared.
And now this will hang up on the infield. Ian Desmond underneath. 1 out.
Maybe we get a little better peek at this one. Yeah, you can see how far this eventually goes foul. Just a towering shot.
Sure did. Well, the wind pattern is a little bit different tonight. There is not much wind up at the flag level right now, but on the field during batting practice it was different than the normal pattern. It was more blowing out to right field. Usually it blows out to left here. Gorgeous view out there.
That's what you get when you get a nice, pleasant, cool evening in Houston.
Yeah. AT HOU's looking at a breaking pitch. There's ball 1 to him. He struck out looking in the second.
I hear you say it's going to be even cooler the next couple of nights.
It is. Going to be delightful, Ash. 2-0. Warming up for the weekend.
You are my Dr. Neil Frank.
We will consult the Doppler radar as we go along tonight. 3 balls, no strikes. No rain expected for the next week.
Nice.
3-1.
I don't know about you, but I might have to find a way to utilize Thursday to a little golfing experience.
Well, that doesn't really work very well. That's a 1-out walk. That's a second walk. We just played golf yesterday. Remember?
And that's a disqualifier for another?
That's a disqualifier. Yeah. 1 on, 1 out. And here's Dominguez coming up.
I hear your way of thinking. I just don't agree with it.
Domingo doubled to left in the 3rd inning. That was a good charity tournament yesterday for Tony's prostate cancer. That smoke to center field. Span with his back to the infield. Span running up on Towles Hill almost. Oh, he falls down as he makes the catch about waist high. That's an incredible effort by Denard Span.
There's Lance Berkman's smile following the play. Apparently there's something about Towles Hill that brings out the pleasant smile. Wow. Now he sprinted to get there, and then when getting to the base of Towles Hill, turns around and, as you say, makes that basket catch. Oh, that's a tough play.
It threw from his backside.
Let's see if which one has the brighter smile upon making a brilliant catch. That's my favorite catch.
Yeah.
Favorite smile.
He's way up on the hill.
Yeah.
Span, though, has a pretty high smile quotient as well.
There's something about getting to that hill and making the play that brings it out.
Jonathan Villar's the batter. The throw goes over to first. That was a terrific play by Span. He had to really track it a long way with his back to the infield. And then he overran it a little bit, but had the presence to still make the catch. What do you think about the increased Z swing percentage of Jonathan Villar so far this year? Are you concerned about that?
Well, now that we have started the conversation, I have no clue what you're talking about.
All right. There's ball one.
The increased Z swing. Z swing
percentage of pitches a hitter swings at that are inside the strike zone.
Oh, I'm tickled that he's going after strikes. Don't know what he's doing with them. Ooh. Nice changeup from Gio Gonzalez. And you get a peek at a pitch that, for me, is one of the keys with most guys who have lasting success. And I think even VR nods in agreement that is a good pitch.
He chased that one. That wasn't a Z swing percentage.
No, but that was the change again.
That's a no swing.
So if you swing at that pitch, then it doesn't impact your Z swing?
No. BABIP is 300.
It's a nice BABIP, I guess.
How about the WRC plus at 108? Weighted runs created plus.
Weighted runs. So how do you weight a run?
Depends on the player who scores.
So as the play-by-play guy, you just bring up the stat.
Yeah, that's all I do.
And I comment to the fact that I have no idea what the stat means.
You explain it.
Okay.
I report, you decide.
I got it. How am I doing?
You're doing fine if you can read that line up there. 1 ball, 2 strikes to VR.
Have to say, nicely done on your part.
Well, you know, runs created is actually a pretty good stat in terms of how a player factors into a run being scored.
But then you're going to weight those runs.
You're going to weight them, yes. Okay. You're going to weight them for ballpark factor, among other things. He struck out looking at strikeout number 5. We go to the 5th inning, and the Astros lead it on this beautiful night, 3-2.
Every Friday night home game is followed by spectacular fireworks presented by Marathon Oil Corporation. The next fireworks game is May 2nd. That's against the Mariners. Get your tickets today by calling 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit astros.com.
That's Friday. Know your golfer. Time for Know Your Golfer, Ash.
Oh, my goodness.
Who
that's
is that golfer?
That's he had his wife out here in the booth earlier this year.
Is
that's
that Mark
O'Meara? In fact, he was out on the field with Milo Hamilton during the Derek Jeter
That's right.
thing. Yeah. Mark O'Meara. He's got a golf club for you if you watch a little late night TV tonight.
Okay. Strike 1 to Jose Lobaton.
It will hinge in multiple places.
Okay. Is it possible to put yourself in the hospital with that golf club?
I think it is.
Okay, then I should buy it.
Or anyone else that happens to walk through the room while you're taking a hack.
4 balls, 2 strikes. Lobaton with the RBI double first time up. Doesn't Mark live here?
I didn't know that.
Well,
if that's true.
It may not be true. 1 ball, 2 strikes. But he's here now, and we're assuming he's going to be playing in the golf tournament.
I would have thought he lived down in Florida, and he was former very close friend of Tiger Woods.
Yeah. Cozart throws ball 2. It's 2-2. Well, the golfers are really coming out. We had Colin Montgomery here Sunday, right?
Yes. You brought in a big star, former U.S. Open winner.
Yeah. Fly ball center field. Dexter Fowler over. That's out number 1.
Scott Simpson being that U.S. Open past champion.
You know, a lot of people, though, really enjoy watching the seniors because they're still able to maintain such a high skill level.
It's amazing
at that age. And then a lot of guys who are good golfers can relate a little bit more to these senior golfers who can't hit the ball maybe as far as the guys on the PGA Tour, right?
See, I'm a former baseball player, and I can still foul one off, I'm sure. But that's probably as far as I can go with that tail.
Denard Span is 0 for 2. Well, there were reports that Alan Ashby was hitting them just about as far as from home plate to the base of Tal's Hill in that golf tournament.
Well, I'd like to think so. Nice little wedge.
1 ball, 1 strike to Denard Span.
It was a good day. Good day. And you were making putts all over the place. So
it was fun to be a part of that Tony's prostate cancer event. A lot of MLB PA guys there. Diving Altuve on through into right field. And Span is on, giving him a 1 for 3 night. That's hit number 5 for the Nats. Great to see a lot of former Astros players out too. The Aspermontes, Bob and Ken were there.
Curveball gets raked pretty hard just past Altuve. Yeah, it was a very good representation. Jose Altuve making sure that his uniform will be washed again tonight.
Anthony Rendon's the batter. He is 1 for 2. Poked a single to right field on an 0-2 pitch last time up. And this one's a shot toward right, but it's foul. Strike 1 to Rendon.
For a lot of us playing at home for the very first time in the big leagues, kind of a challenging opportunity. I wonder how this sets up for Anthony Rendon. Does have a base hit early on, and that usually helps out considerably.
That's for sure, to break that ice early. Well, Wayne Graham has turned out a lot of outstanding players. Anthony's going to turn 24 June 6th, so he really has a nice start on his major league career. He was the Dick Howser Trophy winner in 2010 as Baseball America's College Player of the Year. No balls, 2 strikes, and like Lance Berkman, a first-round draft choice. Good pedigree. He had 351 major league at-bats last year and hit .265. Curveball, and did he go? No.
Wow. Just at first glance, that looked like one that I anticipated a call. Let's see where the bat goes. Yeah, that's a swing.
Okay.
For me, bat flips out to and past the front of the plate. And I think that that was one that I would anticipate a swing on just about every time.
Paul Schreiber made the other call. And the throw goes over to first. Span, as we mentioned, 2 for 2 in steals. The Nationals are 10 for 13. They do not rank among the top half of the teams in base stealing in the National League. They are averaging 4.4 runs per game. They're second in runs scored in the National League with 117 right now. Foul tip. And Rendon strikes out. Number 5.
Justice prevails. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is celebrating 12 years. Join the millions of subscribers. Watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 devices. Visit Astros.com for more details. There's a combination of words there that's really tough on me.
Tongue twister.
Over the top yacker of subscribers.
74 pitches for Cozart, 2 outs now, and it's Worth who homered in the first. Hit a fly ball to center and taking there, ball 1. Worth does take a lot of pitches. He only has a 0.6 WAR, actually.
On the rise, as we learned. Just keep building that thing up over the course of the year. Can you tear it down in the process?
One down. 2-0. Jason Worth has the 3rd lowest percentage of swings in the National League.
And that's viewed as a
well, it could be viewed as a
good
positive.
thing.
It could be viewed as a negative.
Got a lot of hair too. There's that cutter, and Jason Castro appeared to get eaten up a little bit with that at the last instant.
3-0 to count. Worth was a first-round draft choice at Baltimore '97. He's moved around quite a bit last year. He hit .318 with 25 homers, drove in 82 for Washington. Hit a grand slam earlier this month, 3 weeks ago, in a 10-7 win against Miami.
I wonder how Babe Ruth would have fared in that "don't swing the bat" theme.
Well, probably wasn't very high. 3 balls and a strike.
Hank Aaron.
Those guys swung the bat. Babe walked a lot.
Yeah, I imagine he walked when somebody chose not to even come close.
The problem with Wanderers Row was that there was a great hitter behind him. And a great hitter behind him.
You're going to get caught in the trap, apparently, of calling Lou Gehrig a great hitter, huh?
Yeah. One of the great lineups of all time. 27 Yankees. One of the great teams of all time. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Worth. Babe Ruth hit more homers than several teams back in those days.
How did they do that, the Yankees? There was no free agency in those days, so guys weren't just saying, you know what, when I'm a free agent, I'm going to New York. How'd they pull that off?
Well, they purchased Babe Ruth from Boston because the Boston owner needed financing for a New York play, No Nanette.
I recall that on the Babe.
Probably wouldn't happen today. Runner going, swinging a foul ball back.
Probably most New York plays come with their own backing, but all the rest of those great players. The Yankees just out-scout everybody, out-pay everybody.
I think that was part of it.
In the signing aspect of things.
Well, they signed Mickey Mantle from a small town, as you know, Commerce, Oklahoma. 3-2, the runner will go. Line drive left field. LJ Ho's over for the catch. To end the 5th inning, the top of it with no runs a hit and the man stranded. 3-2 Houston.
Houston on top of the Washington Nationals. This moment in history is brought to you by MD Anderson, making cancer history. And this moment involves Jeff Bagwell. Hit his final career home run, number 449 against Greg Maddux. Not a bad guy to do it against. Remains the team's all-time home run leader. Also the only player in team history to win the Rookie of the Year award. And MVP, Jeff Bagwell, one of the greats. And what a pleasure he was to watch the way he went about business.
He was. Ball 1-2 Altuve, who's twice fly to left field. That one comes back underneath us. And the fans get a shot at it. Somebody will scramble for it. 1 ball, 1 strike. There they are. Altuve coming into this game was hitting .483 against Southpaws this year.
That'll work in most circles.
Better will. Signed as a free agent by the Astros from Venezuela. Fly ball out to left again. And caught again by Franson for the 3rd time on Altuve. You were talking about the Yankees and how they acquired players. They had the financial resources to have scouts all over the place and had more money than other teams, so they could sign these players as free agents, the Mickey Mantles of the world. And that was back before the baseball draft, which came along in 1965. At that point, the Rick Mondys of the world were drafted by a team and could not shop their services to other clubs if they wanted to sign that year. Dexter Fowler is 1 for 2, an RBI single. So the Yankees had scouts all over the place, and they did a job.
Apparently the scouts kept hush-hush back in those days because, you know, in today's world, when you find a player out there, you have basically found him for everybody. I mean, everybody knows what's going on.
Good point. They tried to keep things secret back then. They didn't want other teams to know about players, outbid them. Things have really changed, and you know, some people in baseball who have been around for a long time wish it could go back to that. To pure scouting.
Just scouting, have no draft, and sign them when you can?
Yep. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
What do you think that would lead to? Do you think that would make the big boys larger?
Yeah, I think it would, and I think you'd have to have a limit on money spent. Struck him out. Number 6. How about you? What was your own experience with scouts when you were playing?
Well, I was just thrilled to have any come around at all. You know, I remember my signing night. The Indians, Cleveland Indians had drafted me, and my dad and I had gotten together, and we figured out what it was going to take for them to sign us. But within 10 minutes, the scout decided to open his briefcase and, okay, so what is it you guys want? And we presented it, and he closed his briefcase right then without saying a word and got up and started to leave. And we said, well, what did we say? What's the problem? He says, well, we're not prepared to pay that. And we said, well, what do you have? He offered it. We signed it. And within 15 minutes of the time, 20 minutes at most, that he had come to the house, I was signed with the Indians and ready to play pro ball. And that's how it went in those days. Yeah, you had no leverage, no clout, unless you were, you know, somebody that came with a huge billing.
No Scott Boras in the back bedroom.
No, Scott, we thought he was coming that night, but he didn't show up.
Because he hadn't been born yet. No, just kidding.
Well, you're close to right. I hate to acknowledge it, but yeah. Those were intriguing days.
2 balls and a strike. Yeah.
Very first player ever drafted, Rick Monday, huh?
Yes. Oakland A's, 1965. Baseball was changed forever with that draft. 2-2, and now here in June will be the most the latest edition of the baseball draft. What are you hearing about the Astros?
I hear that it's not a lock. We had all heard about Rodon, the left-handed pitcher for North Carolina State, and I think he had some struggles early on this year, although I believe he's turning things back around. But there are some other pitchers, lefties and righties, who have great arms, high school and college, and I think it's going to be one of those pitchers, but I don't think it's a lock that it's Rodon.
Struck him out looking. That's number 7 for Gonzalez. He keeps it close, 3-2 Astros after 5. Houston Astros baseball is brought to you by AT HOU Verse TV. Check availability at 1-800-PICK-ATT. Rethink possible. And by Mayweather versus Maidana live on pay-per-view this Saturday, May 3rd.
I didn't realize Madonna had gotten into the fight game.
No, that's Maidana.
Oh,
not Madonna.
Sorry.
3-2 ball game here. The Astros lead the Nationals. We go to the top of the 6th inning. And it'll be LaRoche, Desmond, and Espinosa due up against Jared Cozart, who gave up a first-inning home run to Jason Worth with 2 outs. Then an RBI double in the 3rd to Jose Lobaton. And 2 men were stranded as he got Worth and LaRoche. 2-5-0 for the Nats, 3-4-0 for the Astros. That's strike 1. Go back to the 3rd inning for Cozart, and he trailed 1-0 at the time. Lobaton had driven in that run with a double. He was thrown out by Jose Altuve trying to go from 2nd to 3rd on a ground out. That's a good looking pitch.
That's the changeup. One of the, maybe the first I have recognized this evening, and that very easily should have been called a strike. Nicely done.
Well, you don't want to go against the preacher, Ted Barrett.
Apparently not.
He's an ordained minister. 2 balls and a strike. That comes in from right field, drops the ball, recovers, and gets him. He has played errorless baseball for the last 61 games, more than 280 total chances.
And now look at our pitch by pitch, brought to you by Steel Dealers. We turn back to Ian Desmond in the 4th inning as Jared Cozart pumps some high heat and then finds the strike zone with a fastball. Count evens. Curveball is fouled off 1-2, and now just blowing heat by. When you see the curveball, sometimes you get lulled into that speed, and that fastball has been creating a lot for Cozart tonight.
It's ball 1 to Ian Desmond. Desmond has fouled out, and he has struck out looking. Won his 2nd straight Silver Slugger last year. Is the best hitting shortstop in the National League. 2 balls, no strikes.
Come on, Coach. Come on, Coach.
He's really one of the core players of this Nationals organization. Stays up, and it's 3-0 to Ian Desmond, Sarasota, Florida. 3rd round draft choice in 04. Now Castro, Cozart has been high with the fastballs here. Mariners 6, Yankees 2, bottom of the 7th inning in Yankee Stadium in the return of Robbie. Robinson Cano, he's 1 for 4 as an RBI tonight against CC Sabathia. And pitch is ball 4. It's the first walk for Cozart. And coming into this game, he had 13 walks in 25 innings, 19 strikeouts. Brent Strom there might be on the phone to the bullpen. He has his back turned. And it's Danny Espinosa next. Doug Fister's another of those on the disabled list. He was in the rotation for the Nationals. Espinosa has 6 bunt hits. And that's tops in the National League. Single to right center field back in the 4th inning. And the throw goes over first on Desmond. Anthony Bass has begun to warm up for Houston.
Next pitch is number 90. So I would think that Jared Cozart has more in him.
In the dirt, this one gets away from Castro. That will allow for the advance of Desmond on a wild pitch.
Breaking ball, and it didn't appear that Castro got himself turned over. And he, along with Corporon, they have been so good in terms of blocking pitches this year, but that wasn't one that I would throw into that category. He's never got quite turned over. That breaking ball will kick back the opposite direction of the direction in which it's moving.
Now Espinosa has a 1-0 pitch coming next. And he's a switch hitter. Has more homers than any National switch hitter ever in the entire history of the Washington Nationals, Ash. And he fouls it back. 1-1.
When does that date back to?
I think 05.
A long and storied history.
Yes. But it was great for our nation's capital to get a team again after so many years of waiting. They had the Washington Senators, and they moved to Minnesota. And then they had the Washington Senators Part 2, and they moved to Texas.
Moral of the story is don't name them the Senators when you bring them back again.
Should have been the Representatives. 2 balls and a strike. And then they had nothing for a long time, so people were pretty excited. And then when they got the new ballpark, of course, excitement building even more.
The Washington Diplomats.
Yeah, there you go.
Of course, then when they shorten it, you'd just simply be the Dips, and that's probably not good.
No. Headline writers would love it, but not the team owners.
Also turn it into the Mats, and that probably isn't good either.
No. Doormats.
That's the thing. You have to really check out your nickname for the club, because there will be others that follow with it.
Yeah. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Chris Young started tonight for Seattle. Mariners leading the Yankees 6-2. Mariners are 10-14. The Astros are 9-17 in the AL West. Mets are beating the Phillies 4-1. They're in the top of the 5th at Philadelphia. That's been something of a surprise. Foul back on the heater. Stays 2-2.
That was the heater up the ladder too.
Cole Hamels has the ball for Philadelphia tonight against Jonathan Neese. Marlon Byrd hit his 3rd home run of the year for the Phillies. Cozart here with 94 pitches.
See, wait for the Rockets to bounce back.
Sure. Play some D. Line shot, Altuve. Safe at second base. 2 down.
Jose didn't put much on this toss back to the bag. I'm not sure if he read it that either VR wasn't going to be able to get there in time, or that he just wasn't going to have a play, but still relatively close.
Yeah. Two down now. It's Nate McLouth. McLouth is 0 for 2. Red Sox lead the Tampa Bay Rays 6-2. They're in the bottom of the 7th at Fenway Park. Lackey on the mound. It's ball 1. Eric Bedard went for Tampa Bay. 5 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 104 pitches. Here you see the breakdown on Cozart. 60 of his 96 pitches have been strikes. That's the thing with Bedard, needing that many pitches to get through 5 innings. We saw that last year, Ash.
But you know, when it was all said and done, I thought Eric did a nice job.
There are the dips.
So that would be, yeah, that's the Diplomats. Okay. The Washington, that could have been their uniform.
Could have been it, see?
Yeah, it could have played out just like that.
Very classy.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and maybe wise that they went with the Nationals.
Yeah.
Although, being called the Nats, I don't know how bold and beautiful that sounds.
Isn't that soap opera, The Bold and the Beautiful?
Of course.
3-0 the count.
When you voice the Washington Nats, do you think of it starting with a G?
Yes. The Sand Nats. Pesky little team. No power.
Bite you when you're down.
Yeah. They don't let you rest. He walks on 4 pitches. That's the second base on balls for Cozart. Both in this inning.
Challenging 6th.
Yep. And it's Franson coming up with 2 outs. And Espinosa's ball was drilled on a line to second base. So those are in the thoughts of Brent Strom as he goes to the mound with a 3-2 lead. Birthdays today, Ash.
Who you got?
Ron Washington, born in 1952. Louis Aparicio, one of the greats.
Ron is known not to be happy with birthdays. He's a guy that doesn't like the fuss of what a birthday is all about, and so, yeah, apparently not too happy with that one. Luis Aparicio on that same day. Master P, he was a, what position did he play?
I'm not sure.
Reggie Miller.
Base.
He played no defense. Jerry Seinfeld wanted to be a ball player.
Duke Ellington.
He'd play any base.
Speaking of music, did you see the big news today that Beyonce and Jay-Z are going to have a concert right here in this ballpark?
No, I did not.
Yes.
That's big news.
Yes, it is. Kevin Franson backs out.
Now,
Franson, what?
Oh, go ahead. Finish. I apologize.
No, that's all right.
Wait, is that going to be during the baseball offseason?
No. During the season.
With the Astros in town?
No. You mean, you think they could have a concert and a baseball game the same day?
So Blummer and I will be in Chicago, and you'll be here
at the concert.
Gosh, don't forget about me. I'll be with you guys.
Well,
and I'm missing one heck of a concert.
Julia, you know, you might be able to ask for that series off.
I bet that could be worked out.
That's a dream tour right there with those two.
Well, isn't that what they're calling it? What are they calling that concert?
On Run.
Okay.
I've seen Beyonce in Houston. She rocks.
Well, maybe you could attend that, and we'll get somebody to work for you. Foul ball back, makes it 0-2.
I'll bet Beyonce says the same of Julia.
Yeah.
I doubt she would think that.
Julia, well,
she's on a different level.
You could stay here.
Okay.
And watch the concert, and then go to Chicago.
Just work it out for me, Brownie.
Well, here's the thing. They could throw it back to you for reports.
Yeah, sideline reporter from the concert.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. From the concert. Updates on the concert.
You'd have to let us know what Beyonce was feeling before the concert began.
What she's wearing and what they're singing.
Oh, I'm down.
What is her batting average on balls in play? 1 and 2. Her Sierra.
Her Z swing.
Z swings. Yeah.
That'd be fun.
And yeah, we can work that out. Oh, 2 and 2.
Methinks thou missed this one. No, might have been up a bit. Close. Seen it called a strike this evening.
Okay. Big 2-2 coming. 3-2 and the runners will go. Lobaton is on deck. And he gets him to reach for it and tap it foul. That curveball can be tantalizing.
What do you say to a pastor who's the home plate umpire when you think he missed a call on you? What's that thou would reconsider?
Yeah, that would be fine. Another big 2-2 coming for Cozart with a 1-run lead, 2 on and 2 outs. And he swung and missed at it, striking out to end the top of the 6th. No runs, no hits, 2 men stranded. Strikeout number 6 for Cozart keeps him in the lead, 3-2.
Arlington. To the bottom of the 6th, and it is time for the AT&T Rewind. We go back to the 3rd. Dexter Fowler, Jason Castro on. George Springer smokes that one. It's ruled a single, but he drives in the tying and the go-ahead run there to give the Astros a 3-2 lead. His 3rd and 4th RBI on the season. You see Fowler showing his approval there. Fowler has taken Springer under his wing this year, and actually his roof too. Springer's been staying with Fowler since till he found a place to live, and they did just that yesterday on the day off. They spent the day together. Springer said he couldn't do any of this without Fowler and his help on and off the field. He even picked Fowler's brain on the way to the ballpark today about Gio Gonzalez, just trying to get some insight, guys.
Good stuff, Julia. Thank you. There's strike 1 to George Springer. 1 for 2 tonight. And that one goes foul and out of play. No balls, 2 strikes with a 3-2 score. The Astros leading Gio Gonzalez and the Nats. Cozart has thrown 105 pitches. Bo Porter may be going to the bullpen in the 7th inning. Springer's down on strikes. That's 8 punch-outs for Gio Gonzalez. Guzman will be next. Look at that pitch.
A couple of curveballs in that sequence to George. And Gio Gonzalez has a good one. He's got the legit fastball, curve, and changeup. Tough pitcher.
Guzman looks at that one outside for ball 1. He's 0 for 2. Meanwhile, in Texas, Oakland is clobbering the Texas Rangers. 9-2 there in the 5th inning. Scott Kazmir on the mound.
They beat Yu Darvish last evening.
Beat him solidly. He is 1-7 lifetime against Oakland. And tonight it's Martin Perez giving up 8 earned runs in 4 2/3 innings. Strike 2-1. Yu Darvish has a very good record against everybody but Oakland in his career.
Now I wonder what it is that the Oakland A's feel they do differently than other clubs.
Yeah. Maybe work the count better. It's 2-2.
Which we've seen Yu Darvish at times when he just is pumping strikes, and we saw with Oakland what that does to them as a club. But if you still handle him, swing the bats well and drive the baseball, I'd like to know if the A's just see him well.
In tight, ball 3. It's 3-2 with Chris Carter on deck. It's going to be very interesting AL West.
Go, Goofy.
It's a liner into left center field. Guzman hustling to first base. And there's the pickup by Span. He fires into second. One out single. Let's take a look at Darvish last night against Oakland.
Throwing a slider for a strike right there. A seeing eye hit for Josh Donaldson. It was a big one, though. Plating a pair of runs. Now, that's the thing. I mean, if fortune's on your side a little bit, I imagine you can get to Darvish. Haven't seen other clubs that can do that, though. Pick up the medium depth at best, sac fly, and a number of things go the Oakland A's ways.
Chris Carter is struck out and popped short. Strike one to Carter. Oakland has a 1-game lead on Texas right now. White Sox lead Detroit 3-1, top of the 6th inning. What a month for Jose Abreu of the White Sox. No balls, 2 strikes. He has been fabulous.
Yeah, I saw that question that was posed on ESPN today. Does he have the better Rookie of the Year, rookie season this year, or does Tanaka, the pitcher with the Yankees, wind up with a more consistent, outstanding season?
Good question. The White Sox, as you take a look at Carter, strikeout victim number 9 in this game. He's caught looking.
Yes, I may have been watching MLB TV. Great guests, hot topics, and no holds barred debate. Kevin Eschenfelder serves it up every single night on Sports Talk Live at 5 p.m. only on Comcast Sportsnet.
Season high 104 pitches for Gio Gonzalez, and he's trailing 3-2, but he struck out 9. AT HOU's in the box. He struck out in the second looking, and he walked in the fourth. Ball one. The White Sox were last in the American League in runs scored last year. This year they're first. Greg Stanman in the bullpen. Jose Quintana is pitching at Chicago against Detroit's Justin Verlander tonight. And the White Sox are looking good. Leading 3-1 in the 6th.
Is that because the White Sox have an entirely different offensive philosophy this year, or is it because of the goofy nature of this game?
I'd go with the latter.
I would too, generally speaking.
Certainly the addition of Abreu has helped them in a major way with those opposite field home runs.
It's amazing what having a guy or two in the lineup that are swinging the bat well can do to the rest of the guys.
Good point. Dominguez on deck here. Each club with 5 hits, no errors. The Nationals have stranded 6. The Astros have left 3. Outside for ball 3, and it's 3-0. Blue Jays 3, Royals 2, middle of the 6th at Kansas City. Jason Vargas is going for Kansas City. Dustin McGowan for Toronto. Bautista hit his 8th. 3-1. Milwaukee 3, St. Louis 3, bottom of the 6th inning. Milwaukee beat St. Louis last night. Big cut makes it 3-2 to LJ Hose.
The fastball's at 92, but you can see it planing out very well.
Yeah. The Brewers have a .731 winning percentage. That's the best in the majors. 19-7 is their record. They have a 5.5 game lead on St. Louis. shot foul with the runner going. The Brewers are without Ryan Braun and Gene Segura right now. Kyle Roach is going for them tonight against his former Cardinal mates. Yadier Molina hit his 4th home run. Lance Lynn got the start for St. Louis. They're going, and it's a bouncer. Espinosa on to LaRoche. No runs, a hit, and a man left after 6. 3-2 Houston.
Astros over the Nationals, and I'm with my progressive fan of the game. This is Mavany, which she says because no one could pronounce her name right. They called her Skipper, so we're calling you Skipper. It's your 91st birthday. Happy birthday. And you're a big Astros fan.
Yes.
How long have you been an Astros fan?
Like I said, when a Colt 45, way back when, before the Astros became Astros.
For the Astros, and you decided to come to a game on your birthday.
Well, my son normally bowls on Tuesday nights, and he said, don't make any plans next Tuesday. And I said, but that's your bowling night. And he says, well, I'm taking you to the Astro game, so here I am.
Are you happy to be here?
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay, well, happy birthday. Have a good one, and have many more, Mavany. All right, Brownie.
All right, thanks, Julia. Now Jose Lobaton is in the box. The 7th inning will begin with relief pitcher Anthony Bass on the mound after Jared Cozart went 6, allowing 5 hits, 2 runs, walking 2, fanning 6, and hitting a batter. He threw 105 pitches. Lobaton puts it in the air to left field. LJ Ho's over. 1 pitch, 1 out for Anthony Bass, who has given up runs in each of his last 2 outings in the Oakland series. Chance for him to get back on track. With a 4.26 ERA, he is 2 for 2 in saves.
Nice whip at 1.18 there, but overall the numbers, sure that Anthony would like to shave down in terms of the ERA anyway.
Well, when he came up to join the Astros, he first pitched against the Angels in that 2nd series of the year. He got a save at Toronto in the 6-4 win, and another save at Texas in the 6-5 10 inning win. Showing bunt. There is a strike to Denard Span with lefty Raul Valdez warming up now for Houston. Well, it looks as if it will be a planned short outing for Bass. Day off yesterday, another day off coming on Thursday for both Porter's relief pitchers. Should allow things to get back in order. Strike to Span. That makes it 0-2. And Jose Cisnero, the right-hander, has joined Raul Valdez for the Astros. And they'll have a decision to make soon. And Scott Feldman returns to the 25-man roster to regain his spot in the starting rotation. We know Colin McHugh's not going anywhere. Bo Porter has said that. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Yeah, I just hope he keeps running out to the mound every 5th day and pitches the way, or anywhere close to the way he has to this point.
Bass pitched well in Oakland on the last road trip, coming in with a 3-1 lead in the 6th inning and holding on to that. A couple of men were on base when he came in. He got out of trouble by getting Jed Lowry. And then in Seattle, he came in with a 5-2 lead in the 7th inning and held that. So he has 2 saves and 2 holds so far.
Go ahead, Anthony. Come on now.
The Astros may, in fact, elect to keep all their pitchers on their current roster when they add Feldman and go with a 13-man pitching staff. Altuve in to field it. 2 outs.
Create memories, have fun, and enjoy a premium experience with an Astros luxury suite at Minute Maid Park. Whether you're training your employees, hosting clients, or celebrating a special occasion, we'll create an experience your group is sure to remember. Call the Astros premium ticket line at 1-877-9-ASTROS and reserve your luxury suite today.
Anthony Rendon is 1 for 3 tonight. Playing before family and friends in Houston, Texas. Strike 1 to Rendon. He singled to right in the 3rd inning.
Good tight little slider.
Anthony played in only 79 minor league games before being promoted to the bigs. Bouncer to Bass. That's a quick 1-2-3 7th inning. 3-2 Houston.
Our minor league report presented by your local Honda dealer. John Singleton has had himself quite a season, leads the minor leagues with his 9 home runs and 27 RBIs. Great stuff being put up by the first baseman at Oak City. Domingo Santana, one of the outfielders there, hitting 300. Has a few bombs, 19 ribs, and doing a very fine job, just 21 years of age. This is some of the look on Domingo Santana. Driving the ball the other way. He can run enough to come up with a 3-bagger on this one. That scored Singleton, by the way. And yesterday, a bomb. Big part of the ballpark. Looks a bit like Kansas City. And drives it out to left center field. A lot of talent developing on the minor league side.
He was obtained in the Hunter Pence trade with the Phillies. Domingo Santana, just 21 years old. Now Craig Stammen's the pitcher. Stammen goes with a slider to Matt Dominguez. It's ball 1 in relief of Gio Gonzalez. Stammen's 0-1. His ERA 4.40. He's had some very good years for Washington. There's a low whip under one. That's off the end of the bat. A one hopper out to second base. Espinosa was positioned up the middle. He takes care of out number one.
Domingo Santana at Corpus Christi last year, the Double-A club. Big guy, 6'5", 230. Came over in the Hunter Pence deal. Youngest player in the Texas League. That's amazing to me at that age. Third in the league in home runs and slugging percentage and all that good stuff. How far can you develop on the minor league side? Do you ultimately have to face big league pitching before you take that final step?
From VR. Strike one. Good movement there from Stammen. VR has a sac bunt and a strikeout looking. Stammen was a 12th round pick in 05 by the Nats. He's from Versailles, Ohio. Went to the University of Dayton. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Last year he was third in innings pitched in relief in the National League with 81. ERA is much higher than it has been earlier in his career. Last year he checked in at the end of the season with a 2.76 ERA. ERA for relievers, not the best stat. 1 ball, 2 strikes. It needs to be interpreted. Dirt for a ball. It's 2-2. A relief pitcher with a high ERA may not have done the best job. He might have left the game with the man he put on base, but then those runs later might have scored and have been charged to him.
How do you feel about the guys that come in the middle and prior to the 9th inning and allow the runs of previous pitchers? Inherited runners scored. That's a telling stat sometimes.
It can be. It really can. 3-2, and again, interpretation is required.
And I say sometimes because there are times you come in with runners at second and third or bases loaded, 1 out, nobody out, and you're going to give up some runs.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Runner at first, 2 outs, not so much. Swing and a miss by VR. He's down on strikes. That's 10 punch outs for the Nationals pitching staff tonight.
Now, there's no doubt the Astros bats still have that tendency of striking out a lot. Looked like that swing from VR was nowhere close on this filthy slider.
Jose Altuve is 0 for 3. 3 fly balls to left field. Diamondbacks lead the Rockies 2-0. They're in the top of the 4th at Arizona. The Astros agreed to deal Lucas Harrell to Arizona. Fly ball out to center. Bernard Span legging it back. And in the 7th inning, it goes quickly for Craig Stammen. Still 3-2 Astros. Altuve, Fowler, and VR try to keep the home fires burning against Jason Worth and the Nats tomorrow night. Pre-game live starts at 6:30. Game coverage begins at 7, only on Comcast Sportsnet.
And now for tomorrow night's pitching matchup, brought to you by Chevron. Care for your car. Jordan Zimmerman, he's a good one. 1-1 on the season, 4.05 the ERA. 19 wins last year. Tied for first with Adam Wainwright. That's a pretty good badge of honor. Brett Oberholzer goes 0-4, 4.61 the ERA. Very poor run support for Obi. 1.6 runs per start this year, lowest in the American League, and that certainly accounts in good part for that 0-4 mark.
We watching as the bullpen is right in this game with the 3-2 lead, and Anthony Bass came in for a 1-2-3 7th inning. And to lead it off, here's Jason Worth in the 8th inning against Bass. Worth had a homer, and he's 1 for 3. Home run in the first inning. It's a breaking pitch. There's strike one for Anthony. Lefty hitting LaRoche due up next. Valdez is warming up and may come in to face him. And Cisnero was throwing earlier. Now it might be Chad Qualls out there. It is Qualls. Has replaced Cisnero as the 8th inning dawns. And Bo Porter is getting his weapons lined up. Pretty good looking pitch, but it misses for ball one. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
Nationals have a bench of 4 players. They've got a couple of switch hitters there. So if you go to the bullpen and try to get yourself a matchup, will you keep that matchup is the question.
Worth takes ball 2, and it's a 2-ball, 1-strike count. Worth hit the home run on an 0-2 curveball from Cozart first time up. You see Valdez and Qualls. Then he worked to count to 3-2 in the 3rd inning, 3-2 again in the 5th. And now he's at 2-1. He sees a lot of pitches. That's good for a strike, and it evens a count at 2-2. That's a big pitch in a 1-run ball game.
I'm good with taking that pitch. Very tough down and away.
Two is foul back. The Nationals have been a good comeback club this year. They've come from behind in 7 of their 14 wins. Wasn't chasing, and it's a full count again, the 3rd straight full count for Worth in this game.
I always wonder what's going through the mind of the hitter. Powerful guy. Is he going to sell out and get a fastball and try to juice it, or is he willing to kind of stay in between and see the ball?
That's punched on a line to center field. A hit. He did a nice job.
I'd go with the latter because he hit a tough slider. This Friday, May 2nd, is National MLB Jersey Day. To be sure, or rather be sure to support your Houston Astros by wearing your favorite majestic jersey to Friday's game against Seattle. For tickets, call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit Astros.com.
Julia has the neon yellow going again tonight. And the shoes? Okay.
No neon shoes. I'm thinking it's just the color, guys.
Those are the what is the Astros record when you wear those shoes?
It's good. I can't think of a loss right off the top of my head.
Or maybe 4-0. No, you wouldn't have worn those shoes 4 times already this year. We know you.
I have a lot of shoes. I need to bring them all in and wear them.
Lowry. A wonderful job by Valdez Saturday night. And now it's LaRoche. LaRoche 0 for 3.
It's a very different approach from the Washington Nationals and Matt Williams versus what we saw from the Oakland A's, where they would go to their bench almost at the drop of a hat to utilize the bench, even a second catcher without a third guy on the roster. And yet here Adam LaRoche going to stay on, and maybe because there's that chance of one more at bat in the ballgame.
Interesting point. LaRoche with the infield shifted around, looks at ball 1. Brother Andy was at one point a major league player, third baseman primarily. Upstairs a ball that makes it 2 balls, no strikes to Adam. Adam was with the Braves in that 05 division series here and hit a grand slam off Brandon Backey. Goes over to first base on Worth. Worth is 3 for 3 in base stealing. Valdez gets a foul ball back. 2 balls and a strike for the 36-year-old Cuban-born Raul Valdez. He replaced Kevin Chapman as the lone lefty in the bullpen. Valdez began his major league portion of his career signing as a free agent in 04 with the Cubs organization. Left knee operation at the end of January, and that kept him out of some of the action in spring training. Fly ball out to left center field. Fowler with a long run. Fowler on the warning track now. Deep. Fowler goes up. It's off his glove. It kicks back toward the infield. Here's Worth around third coming home. And the relay to the plate. Not in time. It's a 3-3 game on a long double by LaRoche. Great try by Fowler, but he couldn't hold it up against the bullpen fence. And LaRoche, with his 5th double of the year, has his 16th run batted in.
Yeah, there's another possibility as to a reason why you stay with LaRoche, and against left-hand pitching this year, hitting .294, .429 the on base, and he comes through with a big one right here, his 2nd extra base hit against lefties this year.
Dexter couldn't quite get a glove on that one. As it kicked back, it was thrown in by AT HOU. Worth coming around to score the tying run to make it a 3-3 game. That was hit number 7 for the Nationals. Now Bo Porter out to go to the bullpen again, with Desmond due up next. Back in a moment.
For Washington, Help thousands of kids in the Houston community by donating new or used baseball equipment right here at Minute Maid Park this Sunday, May 4th, when the Astros play the Seattle Mariners. For tickets, call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit Astros.com.
This lefty-on-lefty matchup went the Nationals' way as LaRoche took this double to left center field, driving in the tying run.
Just out of the reach of Dexter Fowler. That's a big play. If that catch gets made, got a pretty good shot at a double play there.
Absolutely. Now he's at second. He and Desmond, the batter. Corner infielders creeping in. Desmond around to bunt, and it's ball one from Chad Qualls. Desmond's 0 for 2 with a walk. Qualls pitched in the Friday night game here against Oakland. 2/3 of an inning, 2 hits, no runs. He came in with the score tied. He's 0-1 with a 6.14 ERA. Had a rough outing when he had not pitched for 8 days. He had that same kind of bug that went through the Astros clubhouse, flu-like symptoms. Desmond down to Bob Henley, the third base coach, and then he got in the game in Oakland, leading 3-1 in the 9th inning, gave up a leadoff 9th inning homer to Jed Lowry, wound up the losing pitcher, giving up 3 runs in 1/3 of an inning.
It was a heartbreaking feeling night in Oakland. Game 2 of the 6-game trip.
That's a strike. He was around to bunt and took it, and it's 1-1.
But then came game 6 on that trip. The Astros trying to close out Seattle and complete a 3-game sweep, and it got away in the 9th inning. And it was one of those trips that could have actually been very good. Could have gone 4-2 for the team.
It's a second straight start for Jared Cozart, leaving with the lead and getting a no decision. Swinging away this time. He hits it up the right field line. That ball is foul. Could have been big trouble for the Astros, but it's 1-2 for Desmond.
But just reaching out, and sometimes those spoil me hacks wind up being some very big swings.
For Anthony Bass, it was 1 inning plus tonight. 1 hit, 1 run allowed. No walks, no strikeouts. Nobody out now with LaRoche the runner at second. Espinosa on deck. Desmond fouls it. Motors Club grabbed the lead with 3 runs in the 3rd inning on 4 hits. The Astros have only 1 other hit in the game, a 1-out single by Guzman in the 6th. Nationals with single runs in the 1st, 3rd, and 8th innings so far. That's a slider fouled away, and still a 1-ball, 2-strike count to Desmond.
I think that little girl was excited because she had just met Nolan and Ruth Ryan, or was it just the baseball that delighted her so?
Not too sure. Maybe a little bit of each. Nolan was on the field during batting practice.
They're doing a lot of scouting around for the club.
Whoa! It's 2-2.
Sometimes they go your way, sometimes they don't. When they go your way, you're usually going pretty well as a team.
Ground ball foul.
Nolan is actually the finder of the baseball. Let's see, working it hard. He gets a finder's fee.
brother talked her out of it. They had to go to the great arbitrator, though, Mom.
There we go. Yeah. I got this ball from that guy down there. I don't know who he is, but
if only they knew.
Seems like a nice guy.
And he got him. Well, Qualls really had to come back after that call went against him earlier. And the slider looked like maybe a little bit slower speed on that one. Got him a strikeout of Desmond.
Pure filth right here. They're really bending it down and away. Huge out. Washington unable to move the runner up.
And the Nationals, who are 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position, have Espinosa coming up. Espinosa's 1 for 3. Crushed the ball on a line, but right to Altuve in the 6th inning. He does hit to the opposite field. He's a switch hitter, but batting left. And you can see it in the way AT HOU is positioned. Now he's moving, though. LJ, now he's going to move several steps over toward left center. Little bouncer. Qualls takes a look. Throws him out. 2 down.
When I'm combining that left-hand hitter with the sinker that runs away on the left-hand hitters from Chad Qualls, I don't think there's any way you can commit any way but toward left.
And now he goes against McLeod, who's 0 for 2 with a walk. If Qualls can get him, it's a big 8th inning for Chad. McLeod 2 for 4 with a double against Qualls, and he'll get a free pass. Because the right-handed hitter, Franson, is due up next. And a couple of switch hitters, as you mentioned, Ash, are available for Matt Williams on the bench. And we'll see if he would go for one of them with Franson, the right-handed hitter, due up.
Yeah, it's one of those benches I'm sure a lot of managers would love to have flexibility with switch hitters. And
one of those switch hitters, a rookie Zach Walters, is 0 for 8 as a left-handed batter, and the other, Sandy Leon, is a 105 left-handed hitter. So Bo Porter would certainly be knowledgeable about those statistics. And Franson's going to stay in the game. Franson 0 for 2 after being hit by a pitch.
Yeah, it's nice to have the switch hitters. It's also nice if they're actually doing something from both sides of the plate.
Yeah. And of course, with that sinker, that's what makes it tough on a right-handed batter. Qualls could create the movement down and in under his hands. And then he was able to get Desmond on the slider. That's the 1-2 pitch, that 1-2 punch that Chad can bring to the mound. Showing bunt, it's off the mid of Castro, but taken for ball 1 by Franson. Lobatone's on deck. That's the line, and it goes foul. Good grab right there. Ball 1 strike.
Is it a good feeling being a bat boy, or rather the ball boy or ball girl? 250 feet away from home plate and you have to wear a helmet.
Everybody in the starting lineup for the Nationals has been on base tonight. They have 7 hits. Also drawn 3 walks, one of those intentional. Hit batter. 3-7-0 for the Nats, 3-5-0 for the Astros. We're in the top of the 9th in Yankee Stadium, 6-2 Mariners. A bunt is a beauty, and that will load the bases. That is so well placed. Franson puts down the bunt to load the bases for Lobaton.
You know, I've played on some clubs with some managers that would not applaud this 2-out base hit with the bunt. Frank Robinson's a guy that I played for that I can think of very strongly, would say that's all about picking up a hit for yourself. We want you to drive in a run. And I guess if you can get the freebie, if you feel like that's what you got. But nonetheless, I've played for some of those skips that would not have been real keen on that notion.
I think it's good play.
Yeah.
Lobaton is 1 for 3, a double. There's strike one. The reason being that Qualls is tough for Franson to hit. If he gets on as he did any way he can, he brings the lefty hitter to the plate, Lobaton, with the bases loaded. But your point is well taken.
Well, things change through the years, no question.
Now 1-1.
I'd be curious to talk with Matt Williams and find out his genuine thoughts about that.
Number 8 hitter, that's one difference.
Yeah.
Back in 05, the Astros had a guy who was hitting 4th or 5th to put down a bunt with a runner at 2nd. That's totally different. Guy in an RBI spot is charged with driving in that run.
Yeah, the 2-out scenarios, I think, where it also becomes dicier for, in the minds of some people anyway.
Good point. Very good point. That's good movement, and it's 1-2. Also had the sinking action. That's the action he did not have in that game at Oakland when he had been off for 8 days.
Yeah, look at that thing run back and downward. That actually finds a good part of the plate.
Now can Qualls finish the deal here in the 8th inning? Castro blocks it. The runner can't come home. It's 2-2. The Astros have Fowler, Castro, and Springer due up in their 8th inning. Well, if Qualls can get this out, we'll be looking for rally Jason.
Wherever Carlos Corporon is, it can't be far away.
Very big pitch here to avoid going to 3-2. And he got him looking to end the top of the 8th. The tying run scores. It's 1 run, 3 hits, 3 men left, and it's 3-3.
Tied at 3 between the Mets and the Astros. And time for you to tweet your photo using hashtag CSNH fan photo for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game telecast. It's the Comcast Sportsnet fan photo brought to you by AT&T. I'm going to toss it over to Howard in the Crawford boxes.
Thank you, Julia. Tons of responses for our Twitter question, what team should be the top model as Houston continues to build for future success? Lystomania93 tweeted, the Cardinals. Sustainable success with the farm system built not just on high draft picks, but with a core group of players and smart free agent signings. How about Dyslexic Sport? He tweets, the A's can't win without pitching depth, and the A's always have depth in spades. Also got the Red Sox, the Rays. Thank you very much for tweeting me at Ho-Chen CSN. Brownie, over to you.
Thanks, Howard. These fans are about to watch the bottom of the 8th inning here. It's a 3-3 game. Something's pretty appealing to them. Meanwhile, Tyler Clippard takes over. Dexter Fowler in the box. Fowler's 1 for 3, an RBI single in the third. Clippard, one of the top setup guys around, but he's struggled this year some in the 8th inning. And there's strike one. Josh Fields warming up for Houston. Clippard has had 5 holds. He's 1-2 with a 3.09 ERA, but 0 for 2 in saves. With the 8 walks in 11 2/3 innings. Has had difficulty harnessing his changeup at times this year. Grounded out to second. Espinosa on to first, 1 down. Greg Stammen had a hitless inning with a strikeout. Now it's Jason Castro. Castro has a double and a run scored tonight. Also, he has drawn a walk. Clippard had a blown save a week ago, giving up 4 runs, none of them earned in 2/3 of an inning against the Angels.
We talked about the Astros have not won a game in which they have not homered this year. So maybe time for one of those big swings.
.76 miles per hour, and there's strike one. Clippard's 29 years old. He was a Yankee draft choice in 03, 9th round pick. Washington got him in a trade after the 07 season. He has really served the Nats well. He led the league in holds last year in the National League with 33. It's a 3-3 game. We're in the 8th inning. Astros and Nationals, game 1 of a 2-game series. 3-8-0 for Washington with 9 men left. Bill Brown, Alan Ashby, Julia Morales. 3-5-0 for the Astros with 4 men left. The Astros took a 3-2 lead with 3 in the third. They've had only 1 hit since. That pitch at 93 goes upstairs to Castro. That runs it to 1-1. Nationals got a run in the top of this inning, the 8th, on a Worth single, an RBI double by LaRoche. But then the bases were loaded, and Chad Quall struck out Lobaton looking. A ball makes it 1-2. Clippard had a tough outing in 09 against the Astros. He balked home a run when he was issuing an intentional walk and his spikes caught on the pitch. He's from Lexington, Kentucky. Fastball in tight. 2-2. Albert Clippard was an all-star, make it 3-2. He was an all-star in 2011. Had 38 holds that year. Was the winning pitcher in the all-star game. He didn't actually get a batter out. Hunter Pence had an outfield assist on a base hit. Tap foul. The final now at Yankee Stadium. Seattle 6, the Yankees 3. Chris Young the winner. CC Sabathia lost it. Crawford on the Astros bench. What's he doing with the rally, Jason? There it is. All right.
Massage, a little communication.
Got some karma going. That's a walk. And with 1 out, Castro's drawn his second base on balls of the night. Rally Jason worked for that one. Now it's George Springer. Springer had the 2-run single in the third inning. He's 1 for 3. That one gave the Astros a 3-2 lead that held up until just a few minutes ago, the top of the 8th. He's got to use it on every guy. He's got to have that head bobbing when each batter comes to the plate. Isn't that the rule, Ash?
I wondered if he was applying lip balm there. I wasn't sure.
That might have been it, too. Or suntan lotion.
Change up to start him.
He has a good one. Nationals have the 4th best bullpen ERA in the National League, 2.28. They're 3rd in bullpen strikeouts. Springer falls behind 0-2.
That was a hittable fastball up in the strike zone.
Pitch up and fouled it back. Mark Krause comes out to the on-deck circle. Guzman due up next.
Yeah, that was your standard hanging curveball.
Downs got the win for Oklahoma City last night. 4-1 over Round Rock, and Daniel McCutcheon took the loss. Does not get cheated, does he?
Not one tiny bit. It's a great swing. Look how hips get cleared, and that right foot is the only thing that kind of stands out for me. How much he gets back on that foot.
Fouls that one. Overton can't hold it. Preston Tucker was a triple shy of the cycle last night for Corpus Christi. In the 11-2 win at Midland, he hit his 5th home run. Andrew Applin hit number 1 of the year. No balls, 2 strikes to Springer. Him out. 2 down. 11 strikeouts for the national staff tonight.
Just plain old country hardball, high heat.
Now the pinch hitter for Guzman is Mark Krause. Krause off to a rough start. 132 batting average for 53 at bats, 2 homers, 5 runs batted in. He is 0 for 1 as a pinch hitter. Guzman was 1 for 3. Had some good plays at first base. And strike 1. Chris Carter's on deck. Krause was 0 for 3 with an RBI in the Oakland series. Currently 0 for his last 11. Krause takes that one. Last year he led the Astros in pinch hits. It's 1-1.
Took that changeup very quietly.
Second round pick in 09 by Arizona. Brooks at strike 2. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes to Krause.
If you're looking as a left-hand hitter right there to maybe take advantage of the Crawford boxes, that was an ideal pitch.
Yep. Espinosa's out on the grass in shallow right field. And that's strike 3, and that ends the 8th inning with no run scoring on no hits with a man left. It's 3-3 through 8.
Time to reap the rewards of a home field advantage presented by Coldwell Banker. And we look Jared Cozart tonight. The numbers are good, and it really was a solid performance. 105 pitches to get through 6 innings, 5 hits, a couple of runs against him, 2 walks, but 6 strikeouts. Nothing spectacular, but I would just say in watching the Cozart night with that good over-the-top curveball and the mid-90s fastball, that's the guy you'd like to see every time.
Second straight start for Jared. He was in a position to be the winning pitcher. Comes away with a no decision. Now it's 3-3. Mark Krause in for the 9th inning at first base after pinch hitting for Guzman. And in the Washington 9th, they'll be facing Josh Fields, pitcher number 5 for the Astros. Denard Span, the leadoff man, brings a 1-for-4 night to the plate. Dominguez in on the grass at third, and there's ball 1 from Fields.
Looked like as Cozart came off the field, that was the strikeout of Kevin Franson there at the end. Like there might have been a little jawing going on between the two.
Fields is 2 for 3 in saves. He's given up 11 hits in 9 1/3 innings. Walking 4 and striking out a dozen. Domingo in on the grass at third. Fields had a rough outing last time. 2 balls, no strikes. Josh failed to retire a batter against Oakland, giving up 4 hits and 5 earned runs, coming in with the game tied 5-5 in the 9th inning Friday night.
When Josh is struggling a bit, he will miss quite often up with that fastball. That's what we're seeing early.
He was out for a couple of days with a tight quadriceps muscle after that Friday outing. Up with that pitch, falling behind 3-0 on Span.
Just doesn't quite get all the way out in front and bring it down.
Span would be a threat to run if he gets on.
Come back and get him now. Come on.
Rendon on deck. Worth due up third in the inning. That's a 4-pitch walk.
When you watch Josh Fields with that delivery, he does tend to arch back a little bit over the top, a little bit like a Tim Lincecum, somebody like that, and tends to give you that straight over the top fastball, but you got to make sure you get all the way bent over coming through and arm out front if you're going to keep it down.
Rendon the batter. He's 1 for 4. The infielders meet at the mound except for Dominguez and Krause. Possible steal situation with Span. Possible bunt situation. Fields missed a couple of games with tight quadriceps muscle after that last game Friday.
Who's got which side of the field on a bunt scenario? Remember, it was Fields who was challenged by that bunt on the third base side, and eventually never came up with it cleanly. An out was presented at third on that play.
Rendon takes ball one. It's 5 straight balls for Fields.
If you're Matt Williams, do you decide, let's just go ahead and take one before we do anything like laying down a bunt?
That was a bunt by Josh Reddick, and Fields could have had the out at third, but he couldn't pick up the ball cleanly on Friday night. Throw over first. Looked like he peaked a little bit, and Dominguez was standing right there at the third base bag. So a costly play that turned out to be part of a big inning. Runner going, and the throw from Castro to Altuve, not in time. The pitch was ball 2. Now it's 6 straight balls and a runner at second. Span gets his third steal.
This throw was not right on the money, but the tag was so quick to the helmet there, it appeared, from Altuve, that this likely was quite close. Although it appears that Span was able to get in. Good footwork from Jason Castro. Throw just got away a hair.
Will Little with a safe call. Now corner infielders expecting a bunt with a count 2-0. Yar's right behind Span at second. Taken by Rendon. Strike 1.
After the stolen base, I would have thought that Matt Williams would want something to happen right there rather than just take. That stolen base really changed the complexion of the inning.
Worth is on deck. Now 3-1.
With Jason Worth, the next hitter, you're not going to ask him to bunt. And he's a guy that certainly provides the chance for the double play.
Span with his lead, a count 3-1 with nobody out in the ninth. Broken bat, it will get the runner to third. Altuve on over to Krause, 1 out. Rendon won't use that bat again, but he used it to advance the possible go-ahead run to third on out number 1.
Great work by Rendon. That's really doing the team thing with that swing. And it looked like you could watch the body intending to try to hit one to the right side.
Pitching coach Brent Strom arrives at the mound. Worth the batter, then lefty hitting LaRoche.
And we know that Fields is a strikeout type pitcher. If ever you needed that punch out pitch, this is it. One guy and one guy only doing the talking.
Worth homered in the first inning on an 0-2 curveball from Jared Cozart. He singled in the 8th and scored the tying run. 2 for 4 tonight. And the infield comes in. Swinging and fouling. There's strike 1 to work.
RBI situation and a big RBI. So Worth's not up there taken. He's trying to get the first thing he sees in the strike zone and drive it.
Nationals 1 for 11 men in scoring position.
Shouldn't win ball games when you have that kind of a stat.
It's 1-1. Phillies are batting in the bottom of the ninth, trailing the Mets 6-1 in Philadelphia. Worth works the count his way at 2 balls, 1 strike.
Upfield Z, come on.
Tight game tonight. Nationals led 2-0. The Astros got 3 in the 3rd. Stayed 3-2 Houston until the 8th. Now 3-1 to Worth. Worth walks. There's a possible inning-ending double play situation.
Yeah, therefore not the worst thing in the world. Adam LaRoche does not run well, but he tends to put the ball in the air quite a bit.
Fields has been to a 3-ball count on all 3 hitters. That's fouled out of play. Full count now to Worth.
I don't think Worth was real pleased with himself right here. May have swung at ball 4. May feel like he had a pitch to put in the air somewhere.
Now a big one coming for Fields and Worth with the infield in and 1 out. Runner at 3rd. And he hits a fly ball near the left field line. Looks like it's going into the seats. And it is.
Yeah, I think the pitch selection there tells you the Astros are not afraid of the walk. That was a 3-2 changeup.
Right about that. We don't see too many of those from Josh Fields. Billy Hamilton hit a homer tonight for the Reds.
Like over the wall?
Doesn't say. Okay, inside the park. You don't know. That's ball 4. Now runners at 1st and 3rd, 1 out for LaRoche, who doubled in the tying run in the 8th.
Have to hand it to Ted Barrett. He held his ground right there on a pitch that appeared to be just outside.
Yep.
That's a close pitch, and you hate taking that kind of pitch where an umpire has a chance to ring you up, but quality call.
Now LaRoche got that double to left center in the 8th inning. He's 1 for 4. As you mentioned, Ash, he doesn't hit the ball on the ground a whole lot. Has not grounded into a double play this year. Infield shifting around.
Got that classic kind of uppercut, left-handed swing. Drops the barrel from the hands.
That floats up. A changeup is ball 1.
Will Clark was a guy that I remember would have the barrel much lower than the hands through the hitting zone.
No double play balls for Josh Fields this year. Desmond on deck. Fastball fouled away. 1-1. The Nationals have 4 wins in their final at bat this season. They are 7-1 against Houston in all-time play. 4-0 at Minute Maid Park. They swept the 4-game series here in 2012. And in those 4 games, Washington won. Houston scored a total of 9 runs. Pitching has been a big part of the Washington club down through the last few years. It's 2 balls, 1 strike. Rafael Soriano is the closer for the Nats. Jose Cisnero is warming up for Houston. The Astros have Carter, Hose, and Dominguez 2 up in the bottom of the 9th.
It's an intriguing spot right here. There is a base open. It's second base. But 2-1, LaRoche likely sitting on the fastball. Do you come? And they do.
Liner, and that gives the Nationals the lead. It's stopped by Springer, and here's Worth going to 3rd, and the throw is offline. 4-3 Washington on the RBI single by LaRoche. He drove in the tying run in the 8th. He drives in the go-ahead run in the 9th.
That's a dead red scenario. As a hitter, you just drop everything else, get yourself a fastball, and try to pummel it, and that's what LaRoche does on this. Now it's all fastball. And that's just beautiful hitting.
It's ruled a single, an RBI for LaRoche, his second of the night, 17th of the year, and an error on Springer. That's 4 errors on Springer.
He's had a tough time on some balls that should have been handled rather routinely.
George playing his 13th major league game and charged with his 4th error. Now it's runners at first and third and 1 out. And Desmond's the batter.
It's one of those scenarios where Jason Worth had a chance, kind of a freebie, to be aggressive once the Nats have already taken the lead.
Desmond 0 for 3 with a walk tonight. Espinosa on deck. Goes foul for strike 1. The Nationals sent 7 men to the plate in the 8th inning and tied it, but left the bases loaded. Now they come right back here in the 9th. 3 of the first 4 have reached. VR, Altuve, and Krause turn the double play. If the Nationals get a run on 1 hit, they leave a man, and they go up 4-3 in the 9th. Brought to you by AT&T, mobilizing your world. It's been a very pretty evening here inside Minute Maid Park. Historic statue there. Now the Astros won a 9th inning comeback. They have not scored a run in the 9th inning all year. And they trail 4-3 going to the bottom of the 9th. That brings in the Nationals closer, Rafael Soriano. He's converted 16 consecutive saves dating back to the end of last year. In 9 games this year, 1-0 with an ERA of 0, and he's 4 for 4 in saves.
Got a tough customer for the Astros to get it done against. His last outing came against San Diego on the 24th, worked the scoreless inning while walking a man.
Soriano, 34 years old, began his career in the Seattle organization. He was traded to Atlanta after the 06 season. Then he moved on to Tampa Bay, the Yankees. Washington signed him in January of last year to a 2-year, $28 million deal. And he came through with a 43-save season in 49 attempts. Here's Chris Carter. That's a slider, and it's strike 1. Rowley Jason is out.
Are most clubs good with 43 saves with 6 blown saves?
Yeah.
It's in that area where some people are certainly going to have problems.
Desmond, low throw, and wow, LaRoche saves him his 9th error of the year. A routine play.
Well, LaRoche comes up with a couple of very big swings for the club, and now this pick changes the complexion of this bottom of the 9th inning immediately.
But it does. Now Alex Presley will pinch hit for L.J. Hose. Presley brings up a 7-game hitting streak and a .246 average. Has 2 homers, 5 runs batted in. He's had 61 at-bats with the Astros. None as a pinch hitter so far. Well, Presley, even though those numbers look modest, has been doing much better than that recently.
He stung the baseball against both righties and lefties.
That was good for strike 1. Tyler Clippard, who could be the winning pitcher in 1 inning, allowed no hits, no runs, walking 1, fanning 2. Matt Dominguez is on deck. During Presley's 7-game hitting streak, he's hit .455, 10 for 22. Now ball off the mask of Lobaton, and it's 0-2. And with that, Anthony Rendon backs up a little bit at third base.
Sounded like one of those hockey masks, but just one of the lighter weight versions of what has been worn for years and years.
The Nationals have only allowed 1 run in the 9th inning all year. Bigger breaking ball goes for ball 1.
That's an impressive stat.
Probably can't find another team that would match that, right?
I wouldn't imagine. Mariano and Trevor are gone.
And a foul tip strikeout takes care of out number 2.
Come on, Matty. Come on, Matty.
Now Matt Dominguez. The Astros down to their final out. Stay tuned for Astros postgame live presented by Jack in the Box. Dominguez doubled and scored in the 3rd. He's 1 for 3 tonight. Hit a deep drive to center field in the 4th. Bernard Span made that great twisting catch after a long run back. Jonathan Villar comes out to the on-deck circle. That's ball 1. The Astros have been out hit 9-5. Washington leaving 10. Houston is stranded 5. And Matt Williams hoping to be going into the clubhouse soon with win number 15 for Washington tucked away. That's high, and the count goes to 2-0. Matt Williams was on Kirk Gibson's coaching staff in Arizona the previous 4 years. He was on 6 postseason teams. And the 0-1 World Championship Arizona Diamondbacks club. Now 3-0 to Matt Dominguez. Brewers and Cardinals are tied 4-4. They're in the last of the 10th in St. Louis. That's a 4-pitch walk. Dominguez reaches, and it's Villar batting.
I'm sure the assignment for Matt Dominguez was if you get something, get your big-time hack on it. So to draw the walk says he was also being pretty patient there at the plate.
Yeah. He leaves for a pinch runner at first, Marwin Gonzalez. So Carlos Corcoran is the only remaining position player available for Bo Porter in this game. Villar is 0 for 2, 2 strikeouts and a sacrifice bunt. Attracts a throw. Jose Altuve's on deck. The Nationals are beginning a road trip tonight, which will take them on to Philadelphia for 3 games. Well, that's a 5th straight ball as Villar looks at one. Carlos Gomez hit his 6th home run tonight for Milwaukee.
Who got upset in the process?
Now, strangely, 6 straight balls after getting the first 2 and getting ahead of both of those hitters.
You get that stat about the Nats having allowed just 1 9th-inning run this season, and very impressive. I don't know what this one means, but they're yet to allow a run in the 3rd inning. So they've got a heck of a starting staff, no doubt. But that's pretty amazing at this stage of things.
It really is. Steve McCatty, the pitching coach, hoping Soriano can throw a strike here. And he does to make it 2-1. Andy Knorr is the bench coach, former Astro.
Crash test dummy.
Yeah.
That's what they used to call him.
Come on, John.
High hopes in our nation's capital for this club this year, with the Atlanta Braves looking strong at the outset.
Oh boy.
Now 3-1 to VR. It's getting a lot more interesting than the Nationals bench had hoped it would.
One exciting ball after another.
And now VR has drawn a walk.
And this is not what Matt Williams wanted to see.
Steve McCatty's going out. 16 straight saves going back to last year for Soriano. He had this one within his grasp, it appeared, getting the first 2 outs rather easily. Then a 4-pitch walk to Dominguez and a walk on a 3-1 count to VR. The Astros are last in on-base average in the American League at .281 on-base average. They really don't draw many walks. So now it's Jose Altuve, 0 for 4 tonight, with a chance to try to come back to haunt after those walks.
Who better to have at the plate? This is really the guy you want right now. Marwin Gonzalez is not a burner at second. And so he's got to find a way to get a good jump out there, good lead, and moving on the swing of Altuve.
Altuve coming into this game is a .263 hitter this year with men in scoring position. Hit the ball in the air all 4 times. Slider, strike 1.
Really surprised. No sign of either infielder there at the bag at second, trying to cut down on the lead, that extended lead from Marwin.
Altuve to right field, back toward the corner. Here's McLouth on the run, and McLouth is there for the final out. In the 9th inning, the Astros threaten, but McLouth goes into the corner, and Soriano gets another save. No runs, no hits, and 2 men left for the Astros. Final score, the Nationals 4, the Astros 3.